I have opted to start this a little bit early because I see some people waiting, and I wanted to say hi. I'm just gonna hang out for a few minutes. So what's going on, everybody? Also, welcome to the fancy dancy live stream. First time doing this, so please pardon any mistakes on my end. Hello, hi. Oh my goodness. Kikiayo. I'm gonna be also terrible pronouncing names, just so everybody's fully aware. Breakloaf, Felicia. I hate cooking. I'm so sorry. Some of these names are really hard. There's also way more people in here than I was expecting. 309N. Excellent. Welcome, one and all. Yeah. I'm surprised. I don't know if y'all are ready. I have been putting a lot of effort into not only we're so hyped to read privacy policies. I think that's the funniest part about this entire setup. I did not anticipate people to like actually be interested in reading privacy policies, so this will definitely be fun. Oh look, there's a scroll bar that appeared. There's so many comments now. Yeah, this is going to be a perfect one to watch in the background if you want to do something else. I think that's a great idea. I also am fully expecting later for people to watch the VOD while they try to fall asleep, because I've been told many times in my comments that I have a sleep-worthy voice. So you're welcome to those nerds. So yeah, wow, look at all this. So I have lots of little animations that I've created, which should make this slightly more interesting to look at, I hope. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna start by asking if anybody has any questions real quick. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, there's 25 people here already, which is awesome. Welcome. I can also give a quick summary while people are putting questions together. We're going to be reviewing the signal privacy policy. We're going to do a quick question and answer session, just because people keep asking to do that. We're going to then review the DeleteMe privacy policy, and the reason I picked them is because they reached out to try to sponsor me, and I do not do sponsors on this channel. I am working on a video that should be out soon regarding my take on sponsorships, but for those of you watching the live stream, I do not take sponsors. Then we'll do another Q&A break. We'll read the Discord privacy policy. I'd love to also somewhere talk about this Gravy Analytics data breach, because it is all very relevant to what's going on with all of these privacy policies. Then we'll do one more sponsorship request email that I got for Fiverr. They tried to reach out to me, so we're going to read their privacy policy as well. And then we'll do Snapchat, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, let me read some of these questions real quick. What was the question? And if you just have any questions, you know, about anything, how I do things, or anything like that, any takes, I guess, please do OPSEC videos. That is a fantastic idea, and I would love to dive a little bit deeper into it. The challenge definitely gets into making it accessible for like the most amount of people. So I will add that to my list of things to look into. I'm gonna write that down really quick. Oh God. Let's see here. Will there be a test at the end? No, there will not be a test at the end. This is not an exam. This is solely so that if you don't want to read the privacy policies, you don't have to. How do I do the animations live? I pre-rendered all of these little animations. I have been working all week on these little animations for looping. They do have all sorts. Two of them don't loop, this one and this one. But a majority of them do actually like loop and stuff. And then I actually have a lot of different views. Not a lot. I have 3. I ran out of time. I wanted to do more, but it takes a while to make this stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to start this by talking about this. This kind of explains why we're doing this. I mentioned this in a video a little while ago, but a majority of people don't read privacy policies. And I've explained in the past that I think a reason behind that is we want it to be easier to understand, because like this stuff is complicated. And so the goal of these live streams, I'm fully expecting to make this a series of live streams, by the way, because privacy policies are always evolving, always changing. We should, I want to be able to explain some of the terms that are in these. And, for the people that are watching live, if you have questions while we're reading something, if you have a question about something that we've just read, I want to be able to help answer those things. I just saw a really cool question come in. Have you noticed experiencing any FOMO or isolation because of your dumb phone usage, like not feeling as integrated with the rest of society? I would say, sort of, but not really. That's a great question. I think the things that I feel left out on are the things that annoyed me before, like group chats. Like, I didn't get a single political text all last year because I disabled the ability for my phone to receive text messages, and that was lovely. Also, thank you to Felicia White for donating. I really appreciate that. That was very nice. I'm gonna give that a little heart because I didn't know I could do that. So cool. Alrighty. So yeah, this little chart here is kind of why I'm doing this. I made the privacy visualizer with the intent of making privacy policies easier to understand while we're reading them, and the goal of this is to just read through them so that you can kind of see some examples of how they work. Because again, clearly a majority of people self-report that they do not read them. So, and only 18 out of 100 people say that they rarely or never skip them, which seems wildly low to me. Actually, T111, that's a fantastic question. I would love to... I think this makes a little bit more sense for live stream because I have to read a lot of these privacy policies for making a lot of my videos. And I think this is kind of killing two birds with one stone. We get to be able to kind of go through it together, which I think is kind of beneficial. It's not for everybody. I fully recognize that. This stream will absolutely have some wildly boring parts, and I fully am okay if you don't want to hang out. I will not take offense to that. I very much recognize what's going on here. This is going to be a little boring. So yeah, I pushed the wrong button, but yeah. So actually, with that, let's actually dive into our first privacy policy, Signal. So Signal is a smaller privacy policy, which is why I want to start with this one. I do assume that people are not passionate about privacy policies. I could be completely wrong. I have gained quite the audience recently. So maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe all of you will love this and be totally entertained the entire way through. So that would be cool. Anyways, so Signal, they do encrypted messaging. I generally am pretty optimistic about this company. They are a nonprofit organization. Also, just for clarity, again, I know I mentioned this a little bit ago. I don't do sponsors. They have not paid me. I do not take money from these companies. So, but the way that we're going to be handling some things right up front is if data is collected, we will, like if it's optionally collected, like if the thing will pop up and say, hey, do you want to share this type of information or whatever? We are going to assume that is collected data. We're going to assume worst case scenario for the average user if that they click yes on everything that pops up in front of them. So data that is collected, even if optional, we're going to assume it is collected. We're going to be sorting things by this privacy visualizer. Blue is collected data. Orange will be data that is shared. And then red will be data that is sold. And we're going with the sold definition by the California Consumer Privacy Act, sorry, CCPA. We will see examples of that popping up. Also, thank you for the donation, Luis. I very much appreciate that. So we're going to go down here to the bottom, terms and privacy policy. We're going to be skipping terms of service. I've gotten a lot of recommendations to try to explain those a little bit easier. I have not figured out that process yet. I'm going to be completely honest. So for now, we're just going to be reviewing privacy policies as it is what I am more familiar with. Alrighty, again, I'm going to be reading this verbatim. And if you have questions along the way, I will try to respond to them. There are definitely more people here than I was anticipating, so. Alrighty, privacy policy. Signal utilizes state-of-the-art security and end-to-end encryption to provide private messaging and internet calling services to users worldwide. When we see the parentheses services, that's what they define their services as. So your calls and messages are always encrypted so that they can never be shared or viewed by anyone but yourself and the intended recipients. I'm gonna forget to change the animations throughout this, by the way, just a quick heads up. Let's see here. So, information that you provide. Account information. You register your phone number when you create a Signal account. All right, so we have our first piece of information that is collected. So if we look at the privacy visualizer, contact info will contain phone number. So we're going to mark that contact info. And we can see that we're just doing collected data right now. So yeah. Phone numbers are used to provide our services to you. Again, services were described up here. To you and other Signal users. You may optionally add other information to your account, such as a profile name and a profile picture. This information is end-to-end encrypted. Now, this gets a little bit weird because that could be considered either an identifier or user content. So I personally think like a profile name and a profile picture would fit under identifiers a little bit more. But yeah, we're going to stick with identifiers for this one for now. Alrighty. And then they actually link to their end-to-end encryption guide and like how it works and everything, which is very cool. If a privacy policy links to a different privacy policy, we will be also reading that one, which will come up, and I'm so sorry. Alrighty, messages. Signal cannot decrypt or otherwise access the content of your messages or calls. Signal queues end-to-end encrypted messages on its servers for delivery to delivery that are temporarily offline. So for example, a phone's battery has died. Your message history is stored on your own devices. So this essentially means that they do technically have an encrypted version of your message on their servers temporarily when the recipient cannot receive the message. So we're going to call that user content. It is encrypted, but I still want to count it. Again, I'm going to be pretty harsh on these, and we're going to count Basically worst case scenario for all of these companies. Additional information is stored on the servers, including randomly generated authentication tokens, keys, push tokens, and other materials that are necessary to establish calls and transmit messages. That's back-end stuff. That's just how technology works. Signal limits this additional additional technical information. They really make these tongue twisters. This is going to make me really good at reading scripts. Signal limits this additional technical information to the minimum required to operate the services. So, like I said, that last one definitely makes sense for how the service works. We're going to consider that still user content. I also clicked identifiers too many times. My bad. Yes, Signal is a messaging app. They're touted for being kind of one of the best end-to-end encryption apps. They are a nonprofit, so that's why I generally like them. But again, we're going to be relatively harsh with privacy policies. All right, contacts. Signal can optionally, we love this. Signal can optionally discover which contacts in your address book are Signal users using a service designed to protect the privacy of your contacts. So this obviously means that they do collect contact information, potentially. And I think it's super worth calling out that Signal does actually have some really good privacy settings to not have yourself be visible to people that do enable this feature, which I think is a really good thing. Most services do not do that. So like I said, this is an optional thing that they can collect, and I think that's worth calling out, but they do handle it better than most, which I also think is worth calling out. But we're going to mark it, so I'm marking it. Information from the contacts on your device may be cryptographically hashed and transmitted to the server in order to determine which of your contacts are registered. Again, they have a lovely guide here that goes into detail as to how that works, which is really cool. I love that. I also switched to Signal a little while ago. I do like it as well. User support. If you contact user support, Signal user support, any personal data you may share with us is kept only for the purposes of researching the issue and contacting you about your case. This does fit into user content because they'll oftentimes ask for screenshots to validate what the issue is and things like that. So we're going to leave that like that is. And then managing information. You can manage your personal data in Signal's application settings. For example, you can update your profile information or choose to enable additional privacy features like registration lock pin, which you should do. Please do that. Information we may share. All right, here's where things get fun. WhatsApp is actually owned by Meta, who is famously terrible. So, great question. Information we may share. Third parties. We work with third parties to provide you some of our services. For example, our third-party providers send a verification code to your phone number who are registered through our service. I don't particularly love this. You may notice they don't specify what third-party service this actually is, which means I can't read the privacy policy of this third-party service provider to send these text messages. I don't love that. So, unfortunately, we need to consider contact info shared data. Again, we're being a little harsh, but that's for a reason. We want to make sure that we fully understand these things. These providers are bound by their privacy policies. Again, the fact that they don't link them is a little upsetting to me. I really wish they would improve that to safeguard your information. If you use other third-party services like YouTube, Spotify, Giphy, etc., in connection with our services, their terms of policies govern your use of those services. So this last one means like if you share a YouTube video through Signal and it generates a preview and you watch the video through the preview window, technically you're watching YouTube through Signal. I think this is fair game to call out like, hey, you need to read the privacy policies of those services individually because it is their service. Signal is essentially just a window to that service at this point. But this one, there's a very clear difference. This one is used for the function of the service, whereas this one, you can not send YouTube videos or watch YouTube videos. So I think that one is reasonably in the way that it's phrased, and I kind of hope you understand why I have phrased it the way that I have. Other instances where Signal may need to share your data. I have also not been paying attention to questions. I'm so sorry. I got so excited, you know? Okay, it looks like we don't have anything, which is fantastic. Looks like everybody's been kind of covering everything for me. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. All right, other instances where Signal may need to share your data to meet any applicable laws, regulation, or legal process or enforceable governmental request. Now, this one's interesting because there have been cases where the government has requested Signal data and all they were able to really provide was timestamps. They weren't able to identify anybody. Yes, I am triggering the animations manually. I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting to change them. But yeah. Also, fantastic call out. Telegram is not end-to-end encrypted by default. Telegram also really went out of their way recently to make theirs a little bit worse. We can review that in a future stream, though. I think that would be very fun. So again, for the laws and regulations, Signal doesn't actually do a lot. They don't have a lot of data to give, which is good. Again, investigations of personal violations. This gets into their terms and conditions. Yeah, Telegram is actually terrible. If you want a good privacy messaging app, I do recommend Signal. Again, not sponsored. Also, yes, this is Stream Beats music. Why is my voice so soothing? I don't know. I was born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. So to detect, prevent, or otherwise address fraud, security, or technical issues, again, that makes sense. This is kind of normal for these kinds of services. And then to protect harm against the rights, property, or safety of Signal, our users, or the public as required as permissible by law. So this one doesn't really mean a ton when the app is end-to-end encrypted. Again, we've clearly seen in here that they don't have access to your messages, so they don't have a lot to say, but that's okay. Updates. We will update this privacy policy as needed so that it's current, accurate, as clear as possible. Here's where I get angry. I don't know if you get angry about this. Your continued use of our service confirms your acceptance of our updated privacy policy. They don't notify you. I'm guessing the stream will be at least 3 hours. They don't notify you that an update has occurred to a privacy policy. Now, granted, Signal is actually going to be the oldest privacy policy that we will look at today. But yeah, the fact that just you using it assumes that you agree to it. So yeah, that is essentially the Signal privacy policy. Again, it's a lot shorter, fortunately, which I prefer. Yes, I agree. The whole your continued use of our services thing is not fun. Yes, the stream VOD will be available after the fact, so you can watch this when you go to sleep or whatever. Yeah, so that was the first one. It is not illegal, at least in the United States. If you live in a country that actually cares about your privacy, it might be. I know that the EU has substantially better privacy laws. So, yeah. Alrighty, that was the first one. What'd y'all think? That was fun. Yeah, Signals is the shortest privacy policy we will probably look at. Period. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Their privacy policy is very short. Yeah, Signal does lack a lot of pretty decent features. I'll agree with that. But for just basic messaging, it's all right. Thank you for the donation, Alto Edgar. I really appreciate that. What do you think of those data sponsors claiming to go after data brokers? So, 309N, you have asked an amazing question. It turns out that one of those companies, named DeleteMe, actually tried to sponsor me. They reached out to me last week and they said, hey, we want to give you money to make a video with us. And I said, no, get the heck out of here. This video hasn't come out yet. It's in the middle of the works right now. But just a little bit of a spoiler for the next video. This channel will not take sponsors ever. It's not a thing. We're not ever going to take sponsors. I think that it is inherently predatory. I don't want to take advantage of you guys because there is a parasocial relationship here, and I think that sucks. We'll get to the Discord messages thing in a little bit. There's actually some really interesting stuff related to them that I would love to talk about when we get to that point. Yeah. Let's see here. And hey, I'm glad that I started with the signal privacy policy. That was the one that apparently people were waiting for, so I'm glad. Yeah. That thought's a little bit. I am going to attempt to avoid politics in these streams, just due to the polarizing nature of it. I am here to help people understand privacy, not anything beyond that. So sorry, I won't be answering political takes. Alrighty. Let's see here. Discord's messaging is really fun. Oh man, I really do want to get to that one, but I wanted to delete me next, because they tried to sponsor me. They tried to give me money, and I want to make it very clear to people who want to try to sponsor me, email cautiously. I will be reviewing your privacy policy on a live stream. So you can try to sponsor me, but know that I will say no, and I will read your privacy policy live if you try to do so. Alrighty, we're going to move on to DeleteMe next, which is one of those services that claims to delete your data on your behalf. Oops. I forgot to change the overlay. I made like so many of these things. I am so ready for all of these privacy policies. Y'all don't even know. All right, DeleteMe. Here we go. Yeah, Discord, you're gonna love that section. I actually did a huge deep dive. It was actually what ultimately ended up becoming the privacy visualizer and cookie video. Was the start of that was all me researching Discord stuff. So yeah, we'll have a lot of fun with that one, which will be after this one, I promise. DeleteMe. Now, I have some very, very fun things to reveal with DeleteMe. It's privacy policy. After they emailed me, I decided to have a little peek, a little ahead of time. So as we can see here, I can totally buy their service. They totally will let me spend money with them, right? I think that, you know, their website works totally fine. Now we're going to scroll down to their privacy policy, and I want you to pay very, very close attention to what happens when I click this. Now, do you see that? Oh no, our server's not responding. Try refreshing the page or come back in a bit. Now, why does this happen? You might be wondering. Now, down here at the bottom in tiny, itsy bitsy tiny text, they say, if you're using a browser extension that blocks content or network requests, such as Ghoststreet, try disabling the extension again. Now, I do have an ad blocker enabled, but that's just because I hate looking at the internet without it. And that's actually not the source of the problem. Do you notice this little shield icon up here? I have a feature enabled in Firefox. I always enable it by default. called browser privacy, enhanced tracking protection. I have it set to strict. So, stronger protection, but may cause some sites or content to break. So it blocks the following: social media trackers, cross-site cookies in all windows, tracking content in all windows, crypto miners, and known and suspected fingerprinting. So they, I was looking into this to figure out like what was going on. And I discovered that if you turn off the enhanced tracking for this particular website, I couldn't show you the pop-up, I'm so sorry. I have my settings a little bit weird. But as soon as you disable tracking protection, suddenly you can reveal the DeleteMe privacy policy, which is a very fascinating thing to do for a company that claims to be for your privacy. Now, again, you may notice that the rest of their website worked, and I'm going to be giving you a fun little spoiler into some of these other websites. We're going to be looking at Snapchat's privacy policy. Theirs works, no problem. Oh, I'm on their privacy. God, this website's terrible. So theirs loads perfectly fine. Fiverr, another company that tried to sponsor me. Theirs loads fine, no problems here. And I even block stuff on here, right? So like theirs is okay. And then additionally Discord's, theirs loads fine. So it's fascinating that DeleteMe, of all of the companies, decided to block people that are using enhanced privacy protection, even though they're trying to sell you privacy. So, yeah, there's a reason I don't take sponsors. Very funny, isn't it? I keep forgetting to change the animations. I'm so sorry. So, does DeleteMe actually do what they claim? That's a story, unfortunately, for another day. I will be diving into that. Also, the fancy potato. If you see me take a sponsor, know that I have failed you as a creator. I will not, period, take sponsorships on this channel. I refuse. I think that it is predatory. I think that it is gross. I think Louis Rossmann actually recently made a video talking about Sponsor Block, which is a service that I actually do use. I do block sponsorship spots on YouTube videos because I hate looking at them, right? But he mentioned that, hey, instead of using this thing and watching creators that do this, you should just watch creators that don't take sponsors. And I'd like to think that's why you all are here. I don't take sponsors. I refuse to take sponsors. Which I fully recognize is making me less money. Also, check out the Patreon. Yeah, that was a great video from Lewis. I very much liked it. Incogni is an alternative to DeleteMe. I am planning on reviewing their privacy policy in a future video. Or live stream or whatever. Look at all these chat. There's so many of you. This is so cool. We're almost at 100 concurrent viewers. Are you kidding me? What the heck? Wow. Amazing. All right, we're going to dive into the DeleteMe privacy policy. Once again, it required that we disabled a feature of Firefox, enhanced tracking protection. We had to disable this to be able to see this policy. Again, I recommend that you replicate this on your own, because I've been able to do this on multiple devices. I'd fully recognize that there's a lot of money to be made through sponsorships. I am not here to make money. I'm here to make things that I like. Let's see here. Privacy policy, effective date, May 19th. Oh, also spoilers. I have not read this privacy policy yet. I realized after that whole situation where you couldn't see it at first that I thought, oh, this will be fun to be revealed live to everybody. So pardon my stumbling across all of this. This privacy Ooh, looks like we have a fun company name right off the bat. This privacy policy describes how Align Inc., DBA, DeleteMe, and our corporate subsidies and affiliates, collectively DeleteMe, we, us, and our, collects, uses, and shares your personal information if you visit joindeleteme.com or our other websites or services that link to this privacy policy, collectively, the services. So again, this is something that we kind of talked about in the last privacy policy. They need to just kind of describe what they're talking about before we kind of dive into it. Pretty standard stuff. Contact us, receive our communications, or attend our events. If you are looking for information of our cookies, please review our cookie policy. We will do that in a little bit. We also provide, and actually I'm going to open that in a new tab so I remember to review that one. We also provide important information for visitors located in Europe and the United Kingdom. Oh, this is lovely. Now, they fortunately keep this in the same privacy policy, so we will be looking at this at the same time, which is kind of nice. Something I also do kind of like that they do, they have the previous versions of the privacy policies right here. I'm not going to spoil what the contents of this future video is, but I have read literally every single revision to dozens of companies' privacy policies. I mean, I probably read over 50, 60 privacy policies over the last several weeks for this particular video. And I had to go through archive.org to find all of them. They kept changing locations. It was a nightmare. So having them actually linked here is kind of cool. I dig that. I'm not going to lie. All right, personal information we collect. Information you provide to us. All right, here we go. We're getting ready for the privacy visualizer. Personal information you provide us through the service may include contact information, such as your first to last name, email address, phone number, and professional title or organization name. We're going to call that contact info because that's what it is. Yes, we are going to read all of them. This is going to be very fun. Also, I'm amazed that there are 100 people here to watch me literally read privacy policies. So welcome everybody. Alrighty. Profile information, such as your username and password and any account preferences for the services. So we're going to call that identifiers because that would be things like your username, user ID, right there. As far as account preferences, I'd kind of put that into the same category. Datasheet information. Ooh, this is fun. I don't know what this contains. This will be very interesting. When enrolling for the service, you will be asked to fill out a datasheet with personal data fields that you can choose to complete so that we can find instances of data brokers holding that information and have it deleted. The kinds of categories that you can provide and thus have us search against could include first name, middle name, last name, or surname, family name, date of birth, gender, email address, phone number, street address, relatives' names, employers, political affiliation. Ooh, we actually just hit something very fun. We hit sensitive info. That's right. All of that stuff we just talked about, political opinions, race, gender, blah, blah, blah. So they collect sensitive info. Ooh, we're very, very good here right off the bat. And also addresses, we already got contact info, so we're good there. Where did I leave off? This datasheet information is used to provide the DeleteMe service, specifically to search for listings containing your personal information on data broker websites to have them removed. Providing this datasheet data information to us is entirely optional. Again, I'm just going to reiterate for the new people that are showing up. If a thing in a service is optional, if it is mentioned as an optional point of data collection, we are going to count it because we want to make sure that we're assuming worst case scenario. Most people will click yes on anything that's put up in front of them. And when this service starts their whole thing off, they present you this data sheet, and most users that pay for this would assume that it is a requirement. So even though it is optional, we are going to assume worst case scenario and we are going to count it, right? So we are going to say that they do collect sensitive info because that is what they do. DeleteMe is a service that claims to delete data from data brokers. Oh, I keep forgetting I have mods helping me out. Thank you. Alrighty. Let's move on to the next one. Feedback or correspondence, such as information you provide when you contact us with questions, feedback, or otherwise correspond with us. That sort of counts as user content, although they don't specifically call out No, I'm totally calling that. That absolutely counts as your user content. Because when you contact us, implies an email to them. So there you go. Usage information, such as information on how you use the service, interact with us, including information you provide when you use any interactive features of the services. So usage data, we got that right there. I clicked it too many times. Excellent. Marketing information. Ooh. We love marketing information, such as your preferences or receiving communications about our products, activities, and publications, and details about how you engage with our communications. So, okay, that one wasn't as interesting as I thought. I'm not gonna lie. That usually means like advertising stuff, which is so fun, but yeah, didn't get it. And actually that one still kind of falls under user content and a little bit usage data. So that's cool. And then other information that we may collect, which is not specifically listed here, but which we will use in accordance with this privacy policy or is otherwise disclosed at the time of collection. Okay. So that's weird. I'm not going to lie. Because I don't know what it means. It doesn't, that doesn't tell me anything. That's a useless bullet point. I'm not going to lie. But let's see what else they do. Information we collect from social media platforms. Ooh, I hate it when companies do this. We'll explain why in a moment. We may maintain pages for DeleteMe on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. When you visit or interact with our pages on these platforms, the platform's provider's privacy policy will apply to your interactions and their collection, use, and processing of your personal information. You or the platform may provide us with information through the platform, and we will treat such information in accordance with this privacy policy. So, most privacy policies phrase this incredibly vague, like Chud just pointed out. This can mean a lot of things. A lot of companies will call this inferred data, where they will collect information about how you use that other social media platform, which I don't love. Again, a future video will dive into an entire industry that is built on that. That was why I had to read dozens of revisions of privacy policies to see when that started. But yeah, this essentially, in this case means if you interact with them on social media, they can collect that data and use it however they see fit according to this privacy policy. Let's see. Somebody just tested the tracking. Oddly, it works fine with strict on Firefox for Android, but Firefox desktop is preventing it. Ooh, that's a really interesting point. I don't know if there's any developer nerds in the chat, but I know on iOS, all browser applications are actually just a skin of Safari, sort of. They're all using WebKit, right? Like Chromium doesn't exist on iOS. It's just WebKit, right? And similarly, I don't know that this is true on Android, and that's why I wanted to find out. Is everything on Android Chromium based? I would presume potentially, but I also don't know. I know Apple is far weirder about that kind of thing. But that might explain. Oh, that's not the case anymore. When did they change that? I didn't know that. I've been a little bit out of the loop, I'm going to be honest, for a little while. EU law. See, it's those EU guys. They're always saving our butts. That's as far as I'm going to get. As far as politically, the EU has significantly better privacy laws than we do in the US. It could be an anti-bot system, but we can actually, and I can't show this, unfortunately, but I can actually see that they do place a cookie specifically on the website. Like they are specifically putting a cookie on this page for me to be able to look at it, which I think is a little bit weird. Yeah, I don't fully know why they do that, but again, it seems weird that they are the only one of the privacy policies that I have ever looked at, and I have looked at hundreds of these things at this point, They're the only one, again, for a company that promotes themselves to be for privacy, that has had that issue. That is an insane issue to have. We're going to move on to the next section, information we may obtain through third parties. We may receive personal information about you from third parties, such as marketing partners, publicly available sources, and data providers. Again, the vagueness here sucks so much, but hopefully they go into a little bit more detail soon. And then cookies and other information collected by automated means. We, our service providers, and your business partners may automatically log information about you, your computer or mobile device, and activities occurring on or through the service. The information may be collected automatically, includes your computer or mobile device operating system. Okay, so we got some stuff to write down here. That's an identifier. Manufacturer, device identifier, browser types, screen resolution, IP address. Ooh, we got location. Got them. The website you visited before, that counts as browsing data. Because... yeah. Also the cookies thing. Yeah. Anyways. The website you visited before browsing our website, general location information such as city, state, or geographic area, and information about how you use about your use of actions on the service, such as pages or screens you viewed. So that's usage data. How long you've spent on a page or screen, navigation paths between screens, information, activity pages on your screen, activity time. Yeah, so this is all usage data. Our service providers and business partners. So again, here's where that like cookie kind of comes in. The screen resolution thing is actually a really interesting question. That is where the whole conversation that I need to make this video on about fingerprinting comes in, because similar to cookies, I didn't register. Like when I first looked into cookies, at first I was like, oh, cookies are a bad thing, right? Cookies were always invented to be like a tracking privacy nightmare. But no, cookies were designed for a convenience thing that had privacy in mind, and it was just abused. Similarly, from my research so far with fingerprinting, it's the exact same thing. It was designed to help developers understand how things work on mobile devices and stuff. Like Phoenix just pointed out, they probably use screen resolution to adapt buttons or boxes, or for fingerprinting. Exactly. So fingerprinting, that was kind of the intention. It was developer tools to help people like make websites work a little bit better on mobile, but it got abused, because of course it did. I don't know if I can like I don't know how ads work on these live streams, I'm not gonna lie. So if they just randomly happen, I'm sorry. I did see a button on like I could manually do it for like breaks and stuff, but I don't know how to do that. Also, I totally forgot to mention this. After we read this privacy policy, we will be taking a quick 5-minute break, so you can go to the bathroom, drink water, touch grass, because, you know, this sucks. Reading these privacy policies is terrible. How we use your personal information. Okay, so these, I really don't like these sections, because they basically just say, well, we collect it for a reason. And of course that's true. Like, of course they collect it for a reason. You should just read the privacy policies. That's kind of my intent for these streams. Anyways, we use your personal information for the following purposes, and otherwise described in the privacy policy at the time of collection. To operate the service, we use your personal information to... Again, a lot of this just describes how they use your data, which essentially, yeah, we're going to read through this because it sucks, but yeah. Provide, operate, and improve the services, including using your datasheet data to search for listings containing your personal information on data broker websites, and requesting that information be removed from those data broker websites. So again, something we looked at earlier, they collect a lot of sensitive information. If you fill that out, they will, use that, obviously. That's the point of it. Establish and maintain your user profile on the services. Again, totally makes sense. Facilitate social features on the services, such as our blog. Again, all this data totally makes sense. Communicate with you about the services, including sending you announcements, updates, security alerts, and support and administrative messages. Again, makes sense why they would want your email address so they can send you updates. Understand your interests and personalize your experience with the service. Again, that's just how services work. Provide support and maintenance to the services and respond to your requests, questions, and feedback. Great. For research and development, we analyze the use of the services to improve the services and to develop new products and services. So that usage data that we were looking at a little bit earlier, that usually means like that data can be used for making things better. So again, that makes sense. Like, again, a lot of this data, we really have to consider that a lot of data that is collected usually comes from good intent. They usually have a justified reason for collecting it. And in the case of this company, while I will not ever have them as a sponsor or any company, it makes sense, right? Like that, what we're looking at here so far makes sense why they collect this data, right? They need your sensitive information because they want to delete your sensitive information. That's the point, right? So it relies on that. To send you marketing and promotional communications. We may send you marketing communications as permitted by law. You can opt out of our marketing and promotional communications as described below. Cool. To comply with the law, we use your personal information as we believe necessary or appropriate to comply with applicable laws, lawful requests, and legal processes, such as to respond to subpoenas or requests from government authorities. I can't fathom if you were doing illegal stuff, why you would want to use a service like this. But maybe you would. I don't know. But just know that if you use the service and you provide them sensitive information, they can share that with authorities, which is pretty fun. We love that. I'm being a little facetious there, just if it didn't come off as that. Anyways, for compliance, fraud, prevention, and safety, we may use your personal information and disclose it to law enforcement, government authorities, and private parties as we believe necessary to protect you, our, or others' rights, privacy, safety, or property, including by defending legal claims. B, enforce the terms and conditions that govern the services. And C, to protect, investigate, and deter against fraudulent, harmful, or unauthorized, unethical, or illegal activity. Again, if you do illegal stuff and you give them that information, yeah, this makes sense. I don't really know how somebody could use DeleteMe to commit fraud, but I think they're writing that in there specifically to cover their butts if somebody decides to try to figure that out. That's most privacy policies contain something like this. Signal's didn't. Actually, it kind of did. But yeah. With your consent, in some cases, we may specifically ask for your consent to collect, use, share, or your personal information, such as when required by law. So they may ask. They might not tell you, but they might. And then to create anonymous data. We may create aggregated data and other anonymous data from your personal information and other individuals whose personal information we collect. We make personal information into anonymous data by removing information that makes data personally identifiable to you. Now, this one gets me angry. You ready for an angry moment? Aggregated and anonymous data is still wildly identifiable. They specifically state that they make it non-personally identifiable, because personally identifiable information is just your name, your address, your phone number, your email. Just what's in contact info, right? But sensitive info, such as, your political affiliations and things like that, those can all be aggregated together to create profiles, which is what a lot of companies and what data brokers, funny enough, do. And so they can identify, things like, hey, there are, so many people that have this political affiliation, and we want to make sure that we are marketing towards those people with that political affiliation, right? Like, yes, it's not directly identifiable, but there can be an enormous amount of inferred data that is collected that can be super specific to you. I am planning on, I am not planning, I am working on a video that dives into that aggregated data and shows how specific and creepy it can be. Yes, I may or may not be using YouTube's own advertising system to showcase that. So hopefully you don't see one of those ads. Maybe you will. I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to this. We may use this anonymized data and share it with third parties for lawful business purposes, including to analyze and improve the services, promote our business. Again, there it is. Promote the business. That is for advertising purposes. Yeah, I do get angry reading a lot of these privacy policies. I'm not gonna lie. It is kind of inevitable because they always do something that I think is just gross. I don't like it. Which is why I don't use a lot of these services. You just got a YouTube ad. I would love to know what for. And I'm also sorry. You should use an ad blocker. Switch to Firefox. Yes, I'm absolutely promoting that on YouTube. See what happens. I'm probably going to get taken down. Anyways. How we share your personal information. Ooh, this should be a fun section. Data sheets and good gravy. Data sheet data disclosures. God, say that 10 times fast. Any data sheet data you enter on your data sheet may be disclosed to us to third parties such as data broker websites. Again, that makes sense. They are specifically using your data to identify you to have the data deleted. That totally makes sense. Weight loss company. Okay, I found out recently that I can actually specify and get rid of certain ad kinds. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna delete that kind of ad type. Anyways, so again, this totally makes sense. Like, you optionally can give them sensitive information, and they will use that sensitive information to request it be deleted from data brokers. That does make some sense, right? They would need to share it with them for it to make sense. Such data sheet disclosures are solely to request on your behalf that your personal information is removed from those data broker websites, and we do not share your data sheet with any other third parties for any other reason. Great. See, that makes sense. That totally makes sense why they collect and share that specific kind of data. General data disclosures. We do not share your personal information with third parties without your consent, except in the following circumstances or as otherwise described in the privacy policy. Great. Affiliates. We may share your personal information with our corporate subsidiaries or other individual corporation, partnership, joint venture, limited. Okay, basically, if the company is owned by another company, which it is, they can share it with that parent company. Is essentially what this entire paragraph means. And that happens a lot. And we should probably look at that privacy policy as well. And again, this is where things get a little bit weird, and I'm going to quickly scroll down for a moment. Okay, great. They do get into a little bit more specific detail as to what they share and why they share it. See, California privacy rights. We love the CCPA in this stream. I mean, it could be better, but better than nothing. Let's see here. We were right here. So unfortunately, affiliates isn't totally specific into what kind of data it is. But we do know that inherently they have to share some of the sensitive information with the data brokers, right? We also know that they have to share your contact info. I don't know why this is clicking weird right now. It's my website, I should know. Anyways, yeah, personal information. See, that's not crazy specific, which kind of sucks. We may share your personal information with third-party companies and individuals that provide services on our behalf, or help us operate services such as customer support, hosting, analytics, email delivery, marketing, communications, database management services. These parties, again, this is something that I really don't like when companies do this. They don't specify who these third parties are, right? I don't like that. I wish they really specified who they are, because I want to know their privacy policies. these third parties, yeah. Okay, so partners, we may sometimes use your, let me start over there. We may sometimes share your personal information, excluding your datasheet data, with business partners. Okay, so they very specifically say excluding your datasheet data, which was sensitive info. So that feels like every other possible point of data, right? I'm gonna actually ask you guys for that one because I forgot I can do polls. So cool. All right, we're gonna do a quick poll. How do I do a poll? Here we go. Does excluding sorry, I'm really bad at typing and talking at the same time, I've just discovered. All right, there's a poll for you. And I'll quickly switch to the general view so we can see the results of that poll, which I actually can't. Never mind, I'm a liar. Talking is hard. What would be the opposite of a privacy policy? That's an amazing question. I would assume just nothing. Right? Because like privacy policies are the intent of, you know, kind of saying what they collect, right? And so I would assume the opposite of that would just be disclosing. Open source policy. Ooh. You got a better help ad? Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to be making some changes to that whole system. BetterHelp, terrible. Terrible thing. Never, ever, ever, ever use them. Please. Anyways. A public policy. There's some pretty good ones. All right, it looks like we're about 90% saying yes. I'm just because it's a little vague. I am going to agree with that. So there we go. So because they specifically say excluding datasheet data, but again, because they need to share datasheet data, we're going to say that they do share all of the other things, which is kind of fun. Boop, 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 and boop. Great. Ooh, we're off to a great start. Third-party platforms and social media networks. If you have enabled features or functionality that connect the service to third-party platforms or social media networks, such as by connecting your account with a third party. Okay, so you know, like when you log on, when you join a website and it says, "Hey, sign in with Google." That's what this is. That's they're saying that at least this first part is what that is. If you sign in using a service using sign in with Google or whatever, that's what that means. And then they once again say we may disclose the personal information that you authorized us to share, excluding your datasheet data. So again, they're very specific about that, which is kind of cool. We do not control the third party's use of your personal information. Wow. Wow. You seeing what I'm seeing here? That sucks. That really sucks. So they share the data, but they're not responsible for it. You guys see, look, they're not responsible for the data that they share. So that's okay. Don't worry, I'll be looking into making highlights after this. But I'm not going to summarize it for you. I've been very clear about my stance on summarizing. I will not summarize privacy policies for you. You need to read them. Anyways. Professional advisors. We may disclose your personal information to professional advisors such as lawyers, bankers, auditors, insurers, and where necessary in the course of the professional services they render to us. That makes sense. For compliance and fraud and safety, again, they share it with authorities. They already described that. That makes sense. Government requests, notwithstanding anything. Yeah, again, this is Ooh, wait, hang on. This looks kind of interesting. Notwithstanding, fun word, by the way. Anything to the contrary in this policy, we may preserve or disclose your information if we believe that it is reasonably necessary to comply with law, regulation, or legal request to protect the safety, property, or rights of DeleteMe or others. However, this is a good however. Nothing in this policy is intended to limit any legal defenses or objections that you may have to a third party or government requests to disclose your information. Interesting. So the privacy policy doesn't even matter in those cases. It's kind of fun. Why not summarize? Too much nuance in them? Yes, exactly. That is exactly why I refuse to summarize them. There's been this trend over the last 10 years. I mean, it's been going on forever, but it's this idea of headlining information where, oh, I'm just going to read a headline to an article and just kind of spew that headline as if I know what's in the article, right? That isn't beneficial because a lot of times the article's it's a gotcha to try to give you a twist, headlines do not describe what is in the article. It's the same thing with studies, right? Claiming that you read a study but then not reading the entire study is not beneficial, right? You don't know what the contents of it are. You don't know where the sources came from and everything like that. So I don't summarize privacy policies specifically because I believe that it is the same thing. You are getting a summary of something. I mean, we've talked about this in a previous video. Health data, for example, contains a lot of really interesting data, including just how your phone is being held. But that oversimplifies things, right? If I just say, oh, they collect health data. But that doesn't, I don't know. That seems... It doesn't seem like the right way to handle it. So I think the problem has been that people have been trying to summarize them this entire time, and that hasn't been working. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to read it. And I'm going to make you read it, because that's what I want you to do. So we went through all of that. Business transfers. Here's a fun one. We may sell, transfer, or otherwise share some or all of our business data or assets, including your personal information, in connection with a potential business transaction, such as a corporate... What the heck is that word? Okay, basically, if a company buys them out, they sell all that data. Classic. Normal. Everybody has that in there. Your choices. In the section, we describe the rights and choices available to all users. Users who are located within Europe can find additional information about their rights below. Again, that's at the bottom of the policy. Access or update information. If you have registered for an account with us, you may review and update certain personal information, including datasheet data, in your account profile by logging into your account. Cool. Updating information. I wonder if that means deleting. Could be. We'll get there. Opt out of marketing communications. You may opt out of marketing emails by following the unsubscribe instructions at the bottom of the email. You may continue to receive service-related and non-marketing emails. Okay, so that's not amazing, but whatever. I'm personally of the stance of, if I don't want to get emails from you, don't. Yeah, we'll get to the do not track stuff. Opt out of... Yeah, so service-related stuff you'll still get. I don't like that, but whatever. Cookies and browser web storage. For information on how to disable cookies and other similar technologies, see our cookie policy, which, again, we have over here. We'll be looking at that in a moment. Do not track and global privacy control. Some internet browsers may be configured to send do not track signals to the online services that you visit. We currently do not... Oh, geez. I did not mean to do... Oh. Hey, look, we're where we left off. Not bad. We currently do not respond to do not track or similar signals. To find more about do not track, please visit this. Okay, I'm going to be honest. Every single privacy policy that has ever mentioned this, like do not track, every single one of them says that they ignore it, specifically. Nobody listens to it. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Firefox has noticed that it is such a not thing that they are eventually going to be removing this feature because nobody listens to it. Right? So, kind of interesting. Not a big fan. Also, hi everybody. There's a lot more people here. Let's see here. Choosing not to share your personal information where we are required by law to collect your personal information, or where we need to collect your datasheet information to provide services to you. If you do not provide this information when requested, or you later ask to delete it. Okay, so that's cool. You can later ask for it to be deleted. We may not be able to provide you with services. That makes sense, right? I will be reviewing Reddit's privacy policy in a future video. Don't worry, I got you. We will tell you what information you must provide for it to receive the services by designating it as required at the time of the collection through other appropriate means. As described above, while you do not need to fill out your data sheet, we search for your personal data held by data brokers based on what information is in the data sheet. So again, this definitely makes sense why, they need the data to figure out where your data is, right? That totally makes sense. I personally don't love these kinds of services. And again, their entire problem of getting onto this privacy policy with tracking features enabled, or tracking prevention features enabled, is kind of suspicious if you ask me. At least it's bad. It's a bad look. It's bad optics at least, right? Okay, so the more information you provide in your data sheet, the more data points we can search against, and the more listings we can potentially find and have deleted. Again, that makes sense, right? Third-party platforms and social media networks. If you choose to connect the services via third-party platforms such as a social media network, you may have the ability to limit the information that we may obtain through that third party at the time you connect the third-party account to the service. So again, when you sign in with Google, it asks you, hey, do you want to share this data with this company? And you can say yes or no. And you can sometimes get even granular with it, which is kind of nice. So they're just saying that's how that works. Subsequently, you may be able to control your settings through the third-party platform. Again, that depends on which platform. If you withdraw our ability to access certain information from third-party platforms or social media network, that choice will not apply to the information that we have already received from that third party. Again, that makes some sense. God, this is a brutal privacy policy. I'm not going to lie. This one's much worse than the Signal privacy policy. All right. So other sites, mobile applications, and services. The services, and again, that refers to anything that DeleteMe does to function as a platform. The services may contain or content or features from other websites and online services operated by third parties. What? These links are not an endorsement of or representation of that we are affiliated with any third party. In addition, our content may be included on web pages or included in mobile applications or online services that are not associated with us. We do not control third-party websites, mobile applications, or online services, and we are not responsible for their actions. So I think that kind of means in this case, what Cotton just said, I'm guessing embedded YouTube videos and such. I would agree. That seems even what we're doing right now, right? I am reading their privacy policy and I'm not representing their company, right? I'm not an affiliate, I'm not a sponsor or anything like that, right? So they're not responsible with how I present their information, which is funny because I'm just literally reading the privacy policy. Our websites and services follow different rules regarding collection, use, and sharing of your personal information. We encourage you to read the privacy policies of other websites and mobile applications. They want you to read privacy policies. See, it's halfway down the page. They want you to read them. That's great. I'm a little cynical of that comment being in these usually because they know most people don't read these. So yeah, you should read privacy policies though. Alrighty. Security practices. So again, this is where things get kind of fun. While we implement safeguards designed to protect your information, no security system is impenetrable. I can't tell you how many times I have read that exact thing. Every single privacy policy says it exactly like that. Okay, not every single one, but every single one that mentions their security practices does. And due to the inherent nature of the internet, we cannot guarantee that that information during transmission through the internet or while stored on our systems or otherwise in our care is absolutely safe from intrusion by others. We try our best by providing you with leading security practices like encrypting all data requests via secure connection HTTPS. I don't know if you guys saw my VPN video. That's just how the internet works now. HTTPS, while yes, good, isn't like a revolutionary, amazing thing. It is literally required for businesses to be able to use in the United States. Like, you have to use that, right? And other best practices. Again, so they... God, that's such stupid language. I really hate that. So they say, hey, we use a standard that everybody else is required to be using. Also, we do some other stuff, but we're not going to tell you what those other things are. I don't love that. I really don't love that. But it's not inherently a bad thing. You know, they're saying that they try to protect your data, and that's all we can ask for, right? We recommend that you take care to manage your access to the computers and devices where you're logged into our application. Again, kind of passing the blame a little bit, but like, if they have a data breach, which can absolutely happen, data breaches happen all the time, and we are going to look at a case where a data breach, you know, yeah, we do the bare minimum. Exactly. They do the bare minimum to protecting your data is what I'm getting from this. I don't like that. That sucks because, again, they get sensitive information. We just read that in the privacy policy. They have to collect that data, right? So that kind of sucks. I'm not a huge fan of that. I wish they were significantly more specific on how they protect data. I wish most companies were, to be completely honest, but they're not required to, so we're not going to see it. International data transfers. We are headquartered in the United States and have service providers in other countries. And your personal information, excluding your datasheet data that is stored only in the United States, that's a really interesting clarification. I do like that. May be transferred outside of your state, province, or country to the United States or other locations where privacy laws may not be as protective as those in your state, province, or country. There are amazingly countries that have worse privacy policy or worse privacy laws than the United States. So keep that in mind. We will ensure that appropriate measures are in place for compliance with applicable. I really don't like that word, personally. I'm just bad at pronouncing it. But yeah, no, this data privacy is like, most data or privacy policies are as fluff as this, where it's like, it's nothing, right? So yeah. Your California privacy rights. Now here's where things get interesting. Here's where they are required to be transparent, right? Because California is the only state. When you heard about, Facebook recently moving a bunch of their people out of California, I guarantee you that was because California has better privacy laws than Texas, right? I don't think it has anything to do with anything else. I think they're trying to just have less privacy restrictions. I guarantee it. That's a conspiracy. Don't quote me on that. Maybe do. I don't care. Your California privacy rights. Under California law, California residents are entitled. Also, if you don't live in California, I still very, very much recommend that you always read the California section. Actually, any state. For example, Washington requires that you have information regarding your health be disclosed, right? And so if a company collects data regarding your health, Washington has that amendment in there. So always, always, always read all of the states' privacy rights, because while they only apply for like deletion to those states, like a company like DeleteMe could absolutely decline data deletion if you didn't live in California. But it's the transparency side of the California Consumer Privacy Act absolutely applies to everybody, because it's the same data, right? So always, always, always read the California side of it. It's super helpful. Sometimes they make it a different privacy policy. I really don't like it when that's the case. But it's not in this case, which is great. So, California residents are entitled to ask us for a notice identifying the categories of personal information that we share with certain third parties for marketing purposes, and provide contact information such as third parties. If you are a California resident and you would like a copy of this notice, please submit. So again, you can request your data, which is pretty nice. You must put, so they make it very clear on like how you need to specify, and you need to include certain information to get that information. Makes sense. So the California Privacy Act of 2018, CCPA, and the California Privacy Act of 2020, which is the better one, keep that in mind, collectively referred to as the CCPA, CPRA. I didn't realize that there was a difference between the two. This is the first time I've noticed that. Provide certain rights to residents of California. If the CCPA, CPRA are applicable to you, you have the right to know the categories of personal information we collect about you in the prior 12 months and its sources and business purposes. That's the thing that we like. We like that. Know whether your personal information is sold or disclosed to whom in the last 12 months. Again, we love that. That one makes things very clear, which is why I recommend you read the California one, because they have to say, hey, we sell your data. Great. Highly recommend it. Opt out of the sale or sharing of personal information. That is exclusive to California residents in most cases. So that sucks for the rest of us. And access, then delete your personal information, subject to exceptions. Again, specific to California for a lot of cases. Like, for example, Office Depot will not delete your data unless you live in California. Fun fact. Equal service and price if you exercise your privacy rights. Okay, so it's non-discrimination. I would assume that applies to just California as well. And then limit the use of your sensitive personal information. Again, very much specific to California. And correct your personal information. Anybody can do that. Personal information is defined to include, actually, with the correcting of personal information, in this one, we did see that mentioned earlier. So anybody could do that. Personal information is defined to include information that identifies, relates, describes, or is capable of being associated with a particular consumer or household. This includes, among other types of personal information, IP addresses. Heyo, that's specific. We love that. Geolocation data, biometric information, and unique identifiers such as cookie IDs, internet activity, information about browsing history, commercial information such as products or services purchased, or consuming histories or tendencies about characteristics about an individual's race, color, sex, including pregnancy, childbirth, and related so basically sensitive information. They protect you from that stuff. They require that you identify if you're collecting that kind of stuff. Political affiliation. Again, we saw some of this stuff earlier. So that was that. How did they describe it earlier? The data sheet data. Oh, YouTube University. That is a fantastic question. I will look into that. The question was, if I move to California, does my pre-California data get moved to the California portion of the policy, or does only new data going forward count? I actually don't know. That is an amazing question, though. I would assume, since you're a resident, all of the data is like retroactive, but I don't know. I'll look into that. That's a wonderful question. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you can contact them there to exercise your rights. Request for erasure. For identification purposes, DeleteMe requires anyone submitting an erasure request to submit the subject's full name, email address, and home address related to the account or communications. DeleteMe may submit a verification email to the requester, who will be required to re-authenticate to the request for erasure. DeleteMe relies upon this information to ensure that the information is the correct individual. Again, that makes sense. Oh, I missed some questions here. Do privacy policies of international companies have the same focus on pregnancy and childbirth, or is it only a US thing? I think this was specifically because of protected like class stuff, like you can't discriminate kind of thing. I think it's related to that. Yeah, characteristics concerning individual. Like I think it's because it's like identifying potentially discriminatory data, but I don't know for sure. That'd be another one to look into. Let's see. DeleteMe subscriber removal of personal information. Current members are able to log into their DeleteMe accounts to provide personal information deletions on their dashboards, which also cancel their DeleteMe services subscriptions. Given the nature of the service we provide, we cannot provide the service without any personal data. That, again, totally makes sense, right?
Do not sell my information. We take your privacy seriously. Guys, they take your privacy seriously. That's why they had to make an entire California section that doesn't apply to everybody else. We do not sell our members' information. We are not a data broker. Now, that is actually worth calling out. If they do specify that specifically, that they do not sell your information, I trust. I specifically trust that. California's laws regarding this are reasonable, in my opinion. I wish, again, there were more privacy restrictions, but at least they have to be transparent about that. And I do agree with the California Privacy Act's definition of what a sale of data is. So if they say they don't sell it, then they don't sell it. So that's good. We will be able to leave the privacy visualizer at this state, which is kind of nice. Look, we get another state here. How fun. It looks like you only get to opt out of the sale of your data, which they don't do. Interesting. If you're a California resident, you can request information regarding the disclosure of, if any, of your personal information by DeleteMe to third parties and third parties. So basically, if you live in California, you absolutely can request what information they have shared about you, which I think is really cool. I wish I lived in California because I want to know all of the things. So Nevada's rights are significantly reduced. And here we have European users. Now, I am doing this pretty early in the morning, so I'm assuming a lot of the viewers are from Europe. Hello. I'm not from Europe. I don't know if you noticed. So we're going to look at your rights too, just so we can kind of see the differences between America and everywhere, not everywhere else, but the other place that everybody thinks about with this stuff. Hey, there we go. Look at all these people from the EU. This is lovely. All right, well, we're definitely going to read yours then. The information provided to this section only applies to individuals in the European Economic Area and the United Kingdom, collectively known as Europe. Yes, that's a great... look at all these folks. Wow, this is lovely. All right, personal information. Now, I will be totally transparent. I don't know all of the details and ins and outs of European privacy laws. I am looking into it currently for a future video, but I don't know all of the details here. So please keep that in mind. I am an American, so of course my main knowledge is based on American things. So please be patient with me while I read this to you. The information provided in this section applies only to individuals. I'm going to investigate because I don't know what I'm looking at here. Oh, we already read that. So references to personal information in this privacy policy are equivalent to personal data governed by the European data protection legislation. That's cool. Love that. Controller and representative. DeleteMe is the controller of your personal information covered by this privacy policy for the purposes of the European data protection legislation. Ooh, such fancy words here. Syntax error geek. Hello from Canada. Or I guess you're in Canada. I'm not in Canada. But hi. Also hi to everybody from the EU. There's so many of you. And Australia. Wow. Lovely. Sorry, I got really distracted. There was so many people that just chatted. Legal basis for processing. The legal basis of our processing of your personal information as described in this privacy policy will depend on the type of personal information and the specific context in which we process it. However, the legal basis we typically rely on are set in our table below. We rely on our legitimate interests as our legal basis only where those interests are not overwritten by the impact on you, unless we have your consent. This is a rough section. Man, they use big words here. Unless we have your consent or our processing is otherwise required or permitted by law. If you have questions about the legal basis on how you process your information, contact us there. Ooh, I need a little bit of water. I've been talking for an hour and a half. Oh my goodness. Make sure you drink some water too. Hydrate or dihydrate, as they say. Alrighty, I am hydrated. I probably sound a little bit wetter in my voice, and I apologize for that. Alrighty. This is a fun table. We love tables. This looks like it just describes. So to operate the services, processing is necessary to perform contact over governing precisions. Ooh, this is a weird one to look at. But it seems like they need it. They need your data. That makes sense. I'll be honest, this is kind of hard to read because it's a table. How do you read a table? Ooh. I love that. We'll get to that in a second. All right, for new purposes, we may use your personal information for reasons not described in this privacy policy. Okay, here's where things are fun. Where permitted by law, where the reason is compatible with the purpose of which we collected it. So this is basically just saying they can change their privacy policy and what they use your data for whenever, but they will notify you, which is nice. That's a nice difference from what Signal said. So we like that. If we need to use your personal information for an unrelated purpose, we will notify you and explain the applicable legal basis. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't, just email it to you and say, hey, if you continue using it, do you agree? But yeah, anyways. Yes, I do use animations, Blender to make my animations. I make lots of little animations. Some of these aren't animations. Anyways, sensitive information. We ask that you not provide us with any unnecessary sensitive information, such as social security number, government issue identification, payment card information, information related to racial or ethnic origin, political opinions, which is weird because they definitely specified that they do request that data. So that's interesting. Right? Yeah, look, some of this stuff they totally clarified earlier. Anyways, health or biometric or genetic characteristics, criminal background, or trade union membership. Again, that all classifies under sensitive information, which they tell you not to share, which is interesting. Outside of what is required to provide the service. Ah, there we go. That was the catch. It was just at the end of the sentence. All fields where sensitive information is requested in our product or service are optional for completion. So again, and this actually isn't, this doesn't seem like it's specific to EU people anymore. This does kind of seem like it's just generally true. But either way, helpful for us. Retention. We may retain personal information where we have an ongoing legitimate business need to do so. For example, to provide you, hey, welcome Carl Green to Tier 1. Got a new channel member. Heck yeah. Love that. Welcome aboard. I lost my... Okay, we'll just start retention over again. Let's see. We retain your personal information where we have an ongoing legitimate business to do so. Business need to do so. For example, to provide you with the service to have requested to comply with applicable tax or accounting requirements to establish, defend legal claims or fraud protection. When we have no ongoing legitimate business need to process your personal information, we will either delete it or anonymize it. If this is not possible, for example, because your personal information has been stored in backup archives, we will securely store your data. We will securely store your personal information and isolate it from further processing until deletion is possible. Syntax Error Geek also. Heyo, welcome to the membership club. Also, just so everybody's aware, all of both Patreon and channel members started $1. YouTube and Patreon were both like, you should charge more. And I said, no, that's dumb. So I didn't. I set it to $1. So if I could have set it lower, I would have. Because you know me. I don't care. I'm not here to make money. Alrighty. And we got a donation from Felicia. Thank you for the donation. This is so fun. The path to hell is the most convenient. I love that. Alrighty. So data is stored. So here's something that I'm very specifically looking for. When I'm looking in the retention sections of privacy policies, I'm very, very specifically looking for a time frame. How long do they keep the data, right? And let's see, data is stored in line with our internal retention policy. Of course, internal retention policy we don't get access to. That's fine. Identifying data provided by an active DeleteMe member will be retained for as long as an individual has been a member plus 6 months. Great. So they give us a number. We like that. The 6-month buffers provide legal obligations. So basically if like you tried to sue them over things, you know, yeah, they need it for a little while, which is kind of cool. So, I like that they do specify that your data will be held by them for 6 months after you delete your account, which is honestly not that bad. That's better than Incogni. I believe Incogni's was 2 years. So that does actually minimize the risk of a data breach, which is kind of good. Is the number a good number? Yes. I think 6 months is a lot better than most. I'm going to be honest. I think that the longer this is, or if they don't specify it at all, that's where it gets problematic. And then payment data will be stored for 7 years in line with GAAP of the United States. So payment information is a little bit different because that, again, could be potentially gotten. But I guess that's a law. I actually haven't seen that one listed before, so that one's kind of nice. Again, I have read so many of these things, so I'm surprised I've never seen that before. Thank you. I think I am, in fact, an icon. Do you like that? Anyways, let's get back to it. Your rights, European. Okay, so we're back to the EU stuff. Very cool. European data protection laws give you certain rights regarding your personal information. If you are located within Europe, you may take the following actions. So yeah, it's weird that they like set up different sections for like Europe and then turn it off and on again. I don't like that. You may, let's see. So they hold access, provide you with information about how we process your personal information, how you access your personal information. Correct. You may, so you may access your information, you can collect it, you can delete it, you can transfer it. Interesting. Ooh, I've never seen that before. Restrict it, and that is a fantastic point. Somebody just said that it is to prevent money laundering. Didn't think of that. Good call. Is there any plausible reason for companies to keep the info after your account deletion other than tracking for profit? No, if they do keep it for an extended period of time beyond something reasonable, with like a couple years, for example, they are usually just keeping that data so they can sell it. There's no other reason for them to retain that data because there's always a risk of data breaches with that kind of data. We're almost done. I promise. This one's been rough. I'm so sorry, everybody. Please contact our EU representatives to submit these requests. We may need specific information to help us confirm your identity. Again, similar to the California stuff. If we decline your request, applicable law may require or permit us to decline your request. Ooh, interesting. If we decline your request, we will tell you why, subject to legal restrictions. Okay, so they have to tell you why. If you would like us to send a complaint about our use of personal information or our response to your requests regarding your personal information, you may contact our EU representative or submit a complaint to the data protection regulator in your jurisdiction. Man, you guys have like way more stuff available to you guys. That's so cool. Like me complaining about data collection practices here in the United States is literally me making this entire channel. Like that's all we got. Then you got your EU representative information there. Cross-border data transfer. As a US-based organization, DeleteMe uses US-based data providers to deliver the service. There is no functional international data transfer to processor or sub-processors, and your data will remain in the US. However, you, as the data subject, should be aware that any data that you provide us is being sent directly to a US company that operates and provides within the US. Yeah, that makes sense. Therefore, you are directly exporting your personal information to a third country. Interesting. Yeah, if data collection and selling didn't exist, I absolutely would not have a YouTube channel. That is a wonderful point. And that's the goal, right? The goal is for this to not be a problem anymore. But it is. So I still have a channel. Notification and changes of acceptance policy. We keep our privacy policy under review and will place any updates on this webpage. Here we go again. My favorite line in the whole wide world. By using DeleteMe or any of our related services, you accept our collection and use of this data as sent out in this privacy policy in order for us to fulfill the obligation of the services. Continued access or use of DeleteMe services will constitute your expressive acceptance of any modifications to this privacy policy. So if they decide to start selling all of your data, they just can do it and they don't have to tell you. So yeah, angery. I don't like that. If we are obligated to inform you of drastic changes, you will receive an email. So if they're obligated, see, that's that sucks. Angery. Yeah. Children. The services are not directed to, and we do not knowingly collect personal information about anyone under the age of 16. If we learn that we have collected personal information of a child without the consent of the child's parents or guardian, we will delete it. DeleteMe does not provide services directly to anyone under the ages of 18. That makes sense. Although, let's be honest, a majority of people that watch YouTube are children, so, they do sponsor a lot of videos, so they definitely show themselves to children a lot in that regard. But you're right. You have to have a credit card to sign up for the service, so that's fair. Changes to the privacy policy. It's the same thing. We just read that. Why is it there twice? We may amend this privacy policy at any time by posting the amended version and services on the effective date to the amended version. Again, I actually like that. At the top of this policy, they actually do list the previous versions of the privacy policies. I like that. We may announce any material changes to this privacy policy through service or email if we have your email addresses. In all cases, your continued use... Yeah, here we go. In all cases, your continued use of the services after posting any modifications to the privacy policies indicates your assent to the amended privacy policy. So just using the service means, hey, you can do whatever. I don't like that. Which, this is our end result for the privacy visualizer. We read through all of that. It was awful. That took like an hour. That was terrible. My God, they really got to make these things easier to read. We're actually going to look at something that I think is really important. There is a reason I give such a hoot about data retention. That's kind of why I was going so hard on that particular section. And we're actually going to switch to the fun view. So, hey, look, chat, it's you. I use OBS and I created the animations manually in Blender. There you go. We'll get to a Q&A section in a moment. Sorry. I just want to quickly talk about this data breach that just occurred. This was... this Gravy Analytics is a data broker. Now, data brokers obviously are one of the main recipients of data collection. And when companies share data with companies or sell data to companies, it usually goes to companies like Gravy Analytics. But sometimes it's not even sometimes it's just shared. Sometimes it's not even sold, right? So the reason that I give such a hoot about data retention, especially, like not only data collection and sharing, but data retention, is that this is inevitable. Data breaches are always inevitable. Like even with that 6 months that we saw with DeleteMe, which was honestly not that bad, it is going to eventually happen, right? Because hackers are always one step ahead of everybody else. That's how it's always worked, right? That has always been the case. And so I think things like this matter a lot, where 17 terabytes of stolen data from a data broker. Are you kidding me? That is an enormous amount of data, right? And allowing companies to retain your data or share data with data brokers for an extended period of time means that data will inevitably end up in scammers' hands. And again, a lot of the data that we were talking about, especially regarding sensitive information, is inferred data, right? That's a great point, Ani. Text doesn't take up a lot of space. 17 terabytes is an insane amount of data. Like, I don't know how, I wish I could visually show you how much data that is. It is insane. But when you get all of this aggregated data and you have all of this information that is linked to you, scammers can get really good at scamming you, right? Like, if I know that you are of a certain age and you live in a certain town and you associate with these certain people and you work at this job and you make this much money, right? I could be significantly more effective at tricking you into falling for a scam. And I am 1,000% of the stance that anybody can fall for a scam. And I mean, I've fallen for scams. Me, famous YouTuber, cartoon man, Reject Convenience, has fallen for scam? Yes, absolutely I have. I mean, it is, the whole point of scamming is to trick people, right? It is to take advantage of, look at that thing loading. It's a little delayed. It's not going that fast, I promise. Yes, data concerns regarding retention do apply to users worldwide. That is an everybody problem. But yeah, no, I felt there was let's see, this was back in 2019 probably. There was a scam that went down that I was really into Legos at the time. And I got a message from a friend saying, hey, there's this website that sells Legos at a discount. And I was like, that's so cool. And so I went on the website. And lo and behold, yeah, they had Lego sets at a discount. And it looked totally legit. And I was excited. I like Legos, right? And I put in my credit card information and everything. I'm so sorry, the wet voice. It was a website that looked exactly like a Lego website, and they were scraping every single thing I was potentially typing in there, including credit card information, address information, phone numbers, emails, everything. And this was well before I knew anything about privacy, right? I'm saying this not to make myself look a fool, right? I'm saying this because anybody could fall for this, right? And to Holly the Sheep asking why are scams that you get so dumb, you're right. There are absolutely some really obvious ones, but those ones aren't for you, right? Those are for the people that are going to be less knowledgeable about what scams are or exist in the first place. For example, there was one that I mentioned in a video a while ago where I got a text from what looked like my bank asking if I had made a purchase. It didn't have misspelled language. It didn't have anything, right? And I totally lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. But you get my point. I mean, scams are designed to trick all kinds of people, including people who understand scams, right? It will happen eventually to anybody. And I really want to emphasize that. Like, the reason I care so much about this data being collected is because this is where it ends up. Ends up in the hands of scammers. And I don't like that. Not a fan. I'm not gonna lie to you. I need a break. We just read for almost 2 hours now pure privacy policies. So, actually, let's do a quick Q&A session. Yeah, 420 moment. I do not partake. Even though it is legal in the state that I live in, I do not partake. Let's take a quick break, and then we will do a Q&A session. And then we will move on to Discord, which everybody's very excited about. So, look, I made a break screen. It flashes. I see you guys. I see you talking in here. I hope you had a quick break. I have to go to the restroom and stuff. I did not realize this has been going for 2 hours. That was crazy. He sees us, yes. Let's see here. So, scatter. Oh, you guys are funny. When are we sleeping? Nap time is going to be in a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to lie. DeleteMe's privacy policy took substantially more wind out of me than I was anticipating. So we are just going to do Discord next, and then that will be it. I am going to do Q&A session first, though, give us a nice little break between things. Because, whew, DeleteMe was not fun. That was so verbose. So I think there's a button. I can play you the piano. Not easily, but I could. Fiverr and Snapchat. Yeah, we'll start with those next week. Yep. Anyways, ask me anything. I would recommend hardened Firefox as your browser. Yes. I like Firefox. We will do Disney's. Don't worry, Disney is absolutely on the list. We have a lot of things on the list. So I just made a little thingy for you to ask questions. I will. See, I like people who are adding suggestions for things. I should make a little website for people to add their suggestions for privacy policies for me to review. I like that. I will be reviewing privacy policies, like as many as I possibly can, and revisions to privacy policies. What do I think about hardened Firefox? I use it. I think it's great. I'm a big fan of it. Will there be a stream next week? No, unfortunately. I do need to also make videos, and I will admit this took a lot more out of me than I was expecting. Setting up all of these like custom animations and everything is what I mean. So I am planning on doing this once per month, just so everybody is aware. How is streaming since this is your first stream? Do you enjoy it? Anything unexpected? I love this. This has been a blast. Yeah, this has been really fun. I see someone saying that no, it was a joke. Disney's privacy policy takes 130 hours to read. I guess we're going to have a 130-hour stream. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds awful. What happened to your pop install to elicit the forum post a week ago? Ooh, amazing question. This is for Linux heads. I had gotten a framework laptop, which I just returned yesterday because it wasn't working. They had some faulty part with it. I like what they're doing. I don't want to like say that I think they're bad or anything like that, but it just wasn't right for me. But in doing that, I installed Ubuntu to like test things out. And I kind of realized that I'm kind of a fan of Ubuntu. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty stable. Based on DeleteMe's privacy policy, would you use them? No. I also don't believe in that kind of platform. Do it yourself. Or, okay, so of the privacy policies that I've looked at for that kind of company, Mozilla Monitor seems to be the most reasonable, in my opinion. So we can review that in a future video, stream or whatever. How about an ad blocker's privacy policy? So uBlock Origin, I actually kind of prepared for this. I'm not going to lie. uBlock Origin is actually open source, which is really cool. We love open source in this household. And you can read the privacy policy on here. They also don't accept donations, which is super cool. I love that. But there's their privacy policy right there. I love it. Do you know why I love it? That's it. Oh, it's so short. I love a small privacy policy. It's beautiful. I love these. So yeah, uBlock Origin. Get Firefox, use it. Screw YouTube. I fully recognize where I'm streaming, so I might want to be a little more careful. But yeah, big fan. Big fan. Because their privacy policy is very small. Which I like. Usually the length of a privacy policy is a good signifier of how bad it is. If it's really long, you can tell. You can guess. Thoughts on TikTok likely being banned in the US on the 19th of January. Great performance circus that was. I love that it was all shown as we care about privacy and we care about Americans' rights to privacy, but then Meta and every other company in the United States has just been going absolutely banana. TikTok's privacy policy is better than Meta's. Like, I've read it, and we will read it in these streams. Don't worry. Let's see here. Where did you learn all of your coding know-how? I'm not very good at coding, first off. It was all just self-taught. And then, have you covered any nationwide bank website? No, and I will be. Don't worry. Banking services are a very fascinating thing that I want to dive into. After Q&A before Discord, can we quickly recap the privacy visualizer to the new viewers to the stream? Amazing point. Thank you. I will do that. Let me write down quickly the privacy policies people wanted me to review for a future thing. Again, I'm bad at writing things down and talking at the same time, so I'm sorry. I'm just going to give you this expression because it's cool. I have not used uMatrix before, but I'll look into it. I'll look into anything. All right, I think we're gonna wrap up the Q&A. Oh wait, I just got a new question. Do you think YouTube will get better if we have enough people that are there to willingly fix the company? And if so, what would you recommend we try to go into? Ooh, that's a really interesting question. YouTube is a really interesting challenge, I think. We are going to be reviewing YouTube's privacy policy, don't you worry. That one was on the docket for the next stream anyways, so don't worry, we'll do theirs. As far as what would I do to him? Like, what would I recommend? Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think on that one. I'll have to get back to you on that, I think. YouTube is tough because I think I understand why the ads are there, you know? They host an insane amount of data, and that costs a lot of money. Like, I can't imagine YouTube is turning a profit. I'm going to be completely honest. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting one to think about, though. I do think they care. I mean, my recent experience where I recently deleted my channel, they fixed all of the stuff. That actually just happened on Monday. They actually fixed all of the problems, except for the editing thing, but their engineers are looking into that. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, I think that they have been heading in the right direction. I'm going to be honest. Do I have any home servers or home lab stuff? Yes, I've been doing a lot of Proxmox stuff, which is some nerd stuff, which is fun. I like doing that. If I'm pirating a media, would that make me noticeable somehow? You should watch my VPN video, because yes, potentially. Me character confirmed. I don't know what you're talking about. This is a legally distinct version of the little dude. This is somebody else. Why is your voice so smooth? It is. It can be wet sometimes too, as we discovered earlier. Sorry, everybody. Alrighty. We're going to wrap up the Q&A now. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I'm just a little guy. You see me. Look, I got a little magnifying glass. I can be surprised. I'm going to make more of these animations too for the next stream, but, you know. Yeah, it's smooth due to reading a privacy policy. Ugh. Okay, so somebody brought up a great question. We're going to kind of go over the privacy visualizer next to kind of explain why it is the way that it is. Let's see here. So we're going to jump into the privacy policy view, and I'm going to switch the overlay to our last privacy policy review of the day, which will be Discord. It'll be fun. So this privacy visualizer, I'm setting up in such a way that I feel like we're that fancy potato. You nailed it. You are my intrusive thoughts. But yeah, the privacy visualizer, I'm setting up in such a way that if a company collects data optionally or required, we're going to be marking it as blue. So the justification for that is most of the companies that claim that data is optional usually prompt it as like a pop-up or something like that. And most users will just click yes on whatever pop-up comes up, right? And that's just based on my experience of working in tech for a decade. That's just what people do. So we're going to assume worst case scenario for these privacy policies. So if they say we optionally collect your location, we are going to mark that as optionally, right? For Orange, this will be shared data. This will be information that they share with other companies or third-party services, which includes things like payment processing services or social media platforms or advertisers or something like that, right? Again, if it's optional, like you have to opt into that sharing, we still count that because again, we're assuming worst case scenario, we're being a little harsh. And then for the red, this is information that is considered sold. This is basically exchanging your personal information for cash money, which I'm not a fan of. So we count that as red. Again, even if it's optional, we're being strict. We count it. So that's essentially how this privacy policy visualizer is being utilized. Again, if there's something in here that I want to describe in a little bit more detail, we'll dive into the actual like pop-up thingies that I made. Alrighty. I'm going to show you a fun trick, by the way, if you're using Firefox. I'm sure this is available in other browsers as well, but I use Firefox. If you click this little dude right up here, it'll bring you into a reader view, which is so cool. Makes it way easier to look at. Easier on the eyes, I think. So now, I will note, this starts to suck super hard if they have tables, which I don't remember if Discord does. They don't. No tables. Look at that. So, we're actually going to view it in the easier to look at mode because I don't like this one. Additionally, something that I like about it, we're going to scroll to the top, it gives you an idea of how long it'll take to read. Yeah, I kind of figured this thing on every browser. I just never paid attention to it before I started using Firefox. You can also change the theme, which I like. Anyways. All right, so this was updated in March of last year. Welcome. Oh, wow. Such a fun introduction to a privacy policy. This privacy policy explains how we collect, use, store, protect, and share personal information through our services. If you reside within the European Economic Area, EEA, United Kingdom, Discord Netherlands BV, interesting, is the data controller of your personal information is collected through the services as assigned in our terms of service. Again, I don't have the knowledge yet on terms of service for like a visualizer tool. So we will be skipping those for now. We are just focusing on privacy policies. For everyone else, Discord Inc. is the data controller. It is important that you read this entire policy, but here's a summary to get you started. Now, I'm going to do a fun little poll real quick because I just want to know. Now, to those that use Discord as a service, I would like to ask, have you read the Discord privacy policy? Have you read through this? I'll admit that it has been a while since I've read this one. Terms of service, I mean, that's better than nothing, so I'll give you that. It looks like a majority of us have not read that, which is fine. That's okay. That's kind of the point that I'm coming with in these videos. Privacy policies are wildly boring, right? So thank you for answering that. I was just super curious. We have enough people in here to actually get some decent data on that. So thank you. See, I only look at summaries. Phoenix, you nailed it on the head. This is why I want to dive into this. I am very curious if the summaries that you've read specifically align with what we're actually going to dive into. Reject convenience collecting data on us. You got me. That is technically data. You just supplied me some data. I have a hot take. I don't like TSDR. But I'll explain that later. All right. Here we go. So Discord, we saw 91% of you have not read this privacy policy. But they say right here, it's important for you to read it. So they summarize it at the top, which is really interesting. Not a lot of companies do this. So we'll see how accurate this is all the way throughout. We care a lot about privacy. We are committed to creating spaces where people can talk, hang out, and have fun with friends online. Sorry, my body just rejected me for a moment. Respecting users' privacy is a part of that mission, is a key part of that mission. Cool. We don't sell your personal information. Our business is based on subscriptions and paid products, not from selling your information to third parties. Now, I don't base anything in the privacy visualizer based on these summaries. So we will not be marking anything yet. Once we actually start getting into the actual outline of everything, then we will actually start marking things. We limit what information is required. We require that the information that enables us to create your account, provide and maintain our services to meet our communication to our users and satisfy our legal... Okay, now this one, see, this is why I don't like summaries. They collect significantly more than this. And we'll get to that in a moment. I have read this one. I have also requested my own personal data from them, and I've seen firsthand how much they collect. I will not be sharing my personal information with you guys. That would be foolish. We care deeply about your safety. Our dedicated trust and safety team works hard to keep our community safe. We also use certain information to help us identify violations to our community guidelines and prevent harmful content from being distributed through the services. This is why they collect a lot of data. And I really, really, really want to emphasize this is why they collect it. And then we give you control. We give you the ability to control your privacy on Discord. They do have some options, yes. That is true. Alrighty. Discord is the best place to talk, hang out, and have fun with friends online. They really they use a lot more fun language so far compared to DeleteMe. That one was, oof, my brain still hurts from that one. We created Discord to be the best place to talk, hang out, and have friends online. Whether you're a part of a club, gaming group, or just have a handful of friends that you want to spend time together, Discord makes it easy to connect with friends. All right, that's fun. Our services have the same meaning as defined in the terms of service. Okay, so we have to read that now. Actually, wait, no, it says right here. They include the Discord app. Wait. Oh, yeah, okay, I see. So their services include the Discord app, which can be accessed on mobile, web, desktop, console, or even a connected home appliance. Wait, you can get on Discord on a fridge now? That's weird. That's real. Or a dishwasher. Discord. I'm sorry. Any device with the web browser and internet connection. We also have a website, blog, support center, and we may collect information through these means like surveys, emails, and social media. If we build another product, our services might include that too. Cool. A PS5, but they specify a console right there. You can access the web through your fridge. That's a really good point. I didn't think of that. That's great. All right. As explained in our terms of service, we allow users to add content to the services in a number of different ways, including via direct messages and in small and large spaces. If you share content within larger spaces, that content may be accessed by many people, including people you do not know. For example, some servers are available in the server discovery section of the app and do not require an invite link to join. Other server owners may publish the server invite link on public websites. Anyone that can access these servers, and you should be aware that the server owners or admins may set these permissions, and like the size of the servers, the permissions may change over time, including this privacy policy. Fun. We may also use content posted in larger spaces to help us develop, improve, or power our services, including features that help you catch up on conversations and safety features that identify harmful content and the services supported enforced through terms of service and community guidelines. Cool. Basically, if you're doing some stuff that's shady, they track that. If you're saying some stuff that's going to get you in trouble, they know. These things are important to us, and we believe that they will make Discord even better for our users. We will always let you know the type of space you are in, although we don't control where invite links are shared and the permissions for that server. You can limit the extent to which your content is used for these purposes as described to how to control your privacy section below. You can learn more about our approach to safety and content moderations, including how we use your information for these purposes in our safety center, which we should actually check out in a bit. You should take all of this into account when you are using our service. Choose the spaces, features, and settings that are most appropriate for your content. We make money from paid subscriptions and the sale of digital and sometimes physical goods, not from selling your personal information to third parties. Cool. We're finally at the part where they tell us what they collect. This is my favorite section. We collect certain information when you use Discord. This includes information you provide to us, information we collect automatically, and information we receive from other sources. Again, in the privacy visualizer, we will be specifying that anything that is optionally collected will be marked as blue. Okay. We're just starting with blue right now. That's always how we start this. We start with what they collect, and then we move on to what they share, and then we move on to what they sell. They might not do that in this case, but we'll find out. Information you provide us. Account information. So it's usually identifiers, but let's just double check. When you create a Discord account, you can come up with a username and password and provide a way of contacting you, such as an email address, phone number. You also need to provide your birthday. Ooh, okay. So we're going to call that identifiers and contact info because they specify email address as well as a username. And then birthday. I have been leaving that in identifiers personally. I don't actually have it specified anywhere in the privacy visualizer, but I'm starting to think that maybe I should. I don't think it counts as sensitive information because it doesn't. It's not that sensitive of information, you know. Anyways, in some cases, we may require additional information to verify your age. You may be required to verify your account or provide additional information like a verified phone number to your account. You may also... what if it were optional but opt-in instead of opt-out? No, we still count anything that is opt-in, we are still counting as blue. The reason is that a lot of times opt-in data is still popped up and requested by the users, or requested of the users. And because of that, we were like, for example, when you sign into a Mac for the first time, it asks you if you want to share data with third-party developers. It's opt-in, but it is presented in the first place. And the reason that I'm saying that we're counting it is because it is presented to you. So yeah, optional stuff we count. We're assuming worst case scenario, you share all of the data possible. Alrighty. You may also have the option to add your name, to choose a display name. Content you create. Now, this one's going to be user content, but let's get real specific with it. This includes anything that you upload to the service. For example, you may write messages or posts, including drafts. Keep that in mind, drafts. Send voice messages. I didn't know you could do that in Discord. Create custom emojis or post other content that you create with features that we develop. You may also upload or share files through the service. This also includes your profile information and the information you provide when you create servers. We generally do not store the contents of video. Now, here's a really, really good word here. Generally, really dig into that word. Generally, do not store information of your video or voice calls or channels. If we change that in the future, for example, to facilitate content moderation, we would disclose that to you in advance. Cool. At least they specify when the exception is. I like that. We also don't store streaming content when you share your screen, but we do retain the thumbnail cover image for the stream for a short period of time. That makes sense. They have to present that to people somehow, so they would have to collect that. We may build features that help users engage with voice and video content, like create and send short recordings. Okay, so we're going to call that user content because that is information that you post, share, attachments, pictures, whatever, right? That's everything. All right, payment information. If you buy any paid services through Discord, we may need you to submit a valid payment method and associated billing information, including your full name and billing address. Our payment processors, like Stripe and PayPal, receive and process your payment information. Okay. So obviously, for that service, we would need to read those privacy policies as well. That is the whole thing. Depending on the processor, we may also receive and store certain billing information including the last 4 digits of your credit card number associated with the transaction. If you sell something through Discord, you may be required to provide additional information to Discord to our payment processors, such as bank account information to facilitate payments, tax identification, and copies of government-issued identification required to identify a user in accordance with regulatory obligations. If we decide to process our own payments in the future, you would receive and process this information ourselves. Okay, so that is going to fall under... Let's just quickly look through this. Payment information can be such as a form of payment card number, or if an app uses... so they do collect it, because they do specify right there that they keep the last 4 of your card number, so we're going to call that financial. And... purchases... I didn't see anything there specifically kind of stating that, so we're not going to click that yet. They might say it later, though. I don't remember. Informations from actions you take. We collect information about your use of Discord and activities on the service. This includes information such as the friends you add, the users, bots, and apps you engage with, the games you play on your device, the servers or other communities you join and participate in, and the roles in your servers, content moderation, decisions you made, information about purchases, there we go, or sales you made through Discord, including what was purchased or sold and related actions. You can control what we collect, use, and display this information and how to control your privacy section below. Okay, so that also contained usage data, which is worth calling out. Because, well, they collect data on how you use Discord. And I think that this information right here, this information includes things like how you engage with the service. I very, very much recommend that you request your data from Discord, because you will be shocked with how detailed that information is. I was blown away to not only find that every time I click on a server to see what the content, like, let's say I look at, the inside of a server just to see what's going on in there. I don't even engage with anything. I just click on the server name itself. It not only tracks the location of where I did that from, it also tracks like the time, how I clicked it, where I clicked it from, the browser type, if I used it in a browser or the app or anything like that. Like, it is insanely detailed how much this is. And they collect it for, I think it's a year, but we'll double check that in this privacy policy. But like, it was an enormous amount of data. I was very surprised. I highly, highly recommend, if you're worried about data collection on Discord, I highly recommend you actually request your data from them. They will do it if you don't live in California. I don't live in California, and they did it. So keep that in mind. I live in a state that has no privacy laws, because of course I do. Information from optional features. Certain features like contact syncing, here we go, optional feature. And again, this is stuff that like pops up when you download an app. It will ask, hey, do you want to sync your contacts? So we're going to count this. May require that you provide information such as grant us such information to make them work. This also includes third-party integrations you enable to and the data you authorize to third-party services. So again, Terrified is a reasonable feeling for the data that they have. I thought it was really interesting personally, but that's just because like, I'm a nerd for that kind of thing. I have been trying to get rid of my Discord account for quite a while since discovering that, though. Unfortunately, other YouTubers that I've been communicating with seem to be exclusively on Discord, so unfortunately I still have it. Anyways, for example, when you link a music streaming account, we may collect information about that account, such as the songs you are listening to, in order to display that information on your profile as your status, if you've chosen to do so. So that, like when you connect Spotify to Discord, for example, I know that it shows like, oh, here's what song you're listening to, right? So we're going to add contacts, and we're actually going to add browsing history, because that is technically information regarding other services that you use. Again, it is pretty specific, but we are going to mark browsing history because that is technically seeing what you're looking at in a different application, which I'm not personally a huge fan of, but it's there. Information we collect automatically. So we this is just information that they like request. This is stuff that they just do, right? We also collect information from when you use Discord. This includes information about your device. Now, again, this is fascinating data because it's not just every time, like this information isn't just collected when you like click a thing or you type a thing or you upload a thing. If you have Discord running in the background, it checks in every like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. I actually don't know the frequency. I forgot to double check the frequency when I was looking at it, but they just do random check-ins and collect all of this data the same way in the check-ins. Really interesting stuff. So for example, if you switch your computer to a VPN, they can see that your IP address changed and they can track that, right? Which is really interesting. Anyways, information about your device. We collect information about the device you're using to access the service. For example, like I just said, this includes information like your IP address, operating system, browser information, and information about your device settings such as your microphone and or camera. So cool. We love that. I'm lying a little bit. So because they track IP address, we are going to count that as location because IP address can be considered coarse location. So we're going to count it. Information about your use of the apps or websites. For example, we collect log and event information related to how and when you use our service, such as the pages, servers, and channels you visit, the activities you engage in, the feature you use, and the services or embedded content you interact with. So see, that's exactly what I was talking about. Every single possible thing you do in Discord is logged, and you can get those logs from Discord. You can request that stuff. It's crazy specific. Like, again, even including embedded content you interact with. If you click a link to watch a YouTube video in Discord, they know which video you watched. It's so interesting how much data it is. Anyways, other information that we collect automatically. When you take certain actions on other sites, we may receive information about you. So that's going to be that browsing information that we were just talking about. For example, when we advertised for Discord on third-party platforms, if you click on that ad, we may receive information about which ad you saw and on which platform. Similarly, we may also receive certain information when you click on a referral link, such as which website you came from. So like when you don't join a Discord server, when you click a link in a YouTube video, they know which video you clicked on from, that is. Which is interesting. You may receive information from cookies, small text files placed on your computer or device. That's an oversimplification, but that is sort of true. Watch my cookie video to learn more about that. And similar technologies. you can find out more about Discord's cookie usage and how you can manage your cookie permissions in our cookie policy. Of course, it's separate. I really don't like it when companies separate their privacy policies like that. Anyways, we'll get to that in a minute. Or a little bit. This is a long policy. Alrighty. Information we receive from third-party sources. We may receive information about you from other sources, including from other users and third parties, and combine that information with the other information we have about you. So again, that can all be aggregated. Kind of like I was telling you, if you use a VPN on your computer and you're using that to, say, do piracy, which, we don't do that. Discord, in theory, could be the determining factor in deciding, like, oh, we saw that your IP address changed because of a regular check-in. And if, they wanted that information aggregated with other companies, that could be revealed that it was, in fact, you, because they have a timestamp of when that changed, which is interesting. I'm not saying that they necessarily do that, but they have the potential to do that, is what I'm saying. How we use your information. Under the data protection laws like GDPR, companies may have a legal basis, a valid reason, to process your information, your personal information. Discord relies on different legal bases to provide you information and the purposes described in this policy. The information we collect, and then they list everything that they just described up above, which is nice, give you a chance to double check everything. For the following reasons and according to these legal bases. For each reason, we describe why we process your information and how we process your information to achieve each purpose. Cool. Purpose, not purchase. Bleh. Cool. To fulfill our contract with you, to provide you with the services. So obviously they need some data to be able to be functional, right? We use your information that you provide to Discord services. For example, when you start a video call, we process your images and audio to make that work, right? If you want to be able to use voice call, they need access to your voice and microphone. Of course, that's the case, right? We similarly collect the store and messages that you send and display them as you direct. So again, as you use Discord, they're going to use some of these features. Actually, all of them. They really do. All of the data that they collect is used in the service, right? It makes sense. They need to know what messages you send because they need to show that to people, right? We also use the information you provide us to create or manage your account to facilitate purchases. When you enable optional features like connecting your Discord account to other platforms, we use information from those services to power that feature. Again, similar to what we were talking about with Spotify and Discord's integration. Of course, that information needs to talk for that to be a functioning feature, right? Like I said earlier in the stream, data is collected usually with a purpose, right? So this so far all makes sense. And actually, that's why I don't really love these sections in privacy policies. They always make sense. Of course you do that data, right? But we'll continue along anyway. To meet our commitments to Discord community, we work hard to make Discord a safe, positive, and inclusive place. To do so, we may use your information to monitor and take action against users and content that violates our term of service, community guidelines, and other policies. What is other policies? I'm just curious, Ed. Oh. Ooh. Okay, we're going to get to this one in a minute. I love this kind of page. Anyways. This includes responding to our users' reports, generating transcriptions of content as part of our investigation, detecting fraud and malware, and proactively scanning attachments and other content for illegal or harmful activity. Again, that seems fair. That seems reasonable. We also use certain information, which may include content reported to us, content that violates your terms of service, and certain other widely available on the service, such as public posts, usernames, avatars, banners, user profiles, server names, server icons, and server banners, to create systems and models that can be automated to more swiftly detect, categorize, and take action against prohibited conduct or conduct. So this is this makes sense. So basically, if somebody reports something and Discord agrees that it is against their terms of service, they may use that data that you reported to make automated systems. That seems, again, once again, totally reasonable. If somebody is sharing a malware file on a server that you're on, yeah, that makes sense that they would then add that to their list of things to, hey, maybe don't let this get through ever again. I think that's fair game. To contact you. We use your information to contact you in connection with your account, such as to verify or secure it with two-factor authentication. We may also use your information to contact you about important product or policy changes and send you information about products you've purchased. Okay. I am very curious about that one, the policy changes thing. We're going to see that later, but you know me, if they just change it, or I'll get angry. Anyways. All right. And then to provide customer service. We use your information to respond to questions about our products and services and to investigate bugs or other issues. That totally makes sense, right? Yeah. For our legitimate business interests, to protect our services, we use your information to keep our services secure and to prevent misuse and enforce the terms of service and policies and against users who violate them. So from a legal basis standpoint, if somebody is uploading illegal content, they want to, thanks for joining, Phoenix. It was good to have you here. Also, goodbye to everybody else that showed up. I've been so bad about that. Anyways. Yeah, if somebody's uploading illegal content to the server, it makes sense that they would want to legally protect themselves and say, hey, we don't like it when company do that. Or when this person does that. You get it. You want me to laugh more? Wait, why are you tracking my laughs? That's so weird. I don't like this. Wait, are you reverse Unoing data on me? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Anyways, I laughs. These are privacy policies. They're hardly entertaining. Anyways. Yeah, I didn't consent. Can you say that I did consent to tracking laughing though by just live streaming in general? I will be reading the Blue Sky privacy policy in a future stream. Yes, don't worry. I have added that to my list. No, we should not go back to SMS. I think that is a terrible idea. SMS is wildly insecure. I should use a laugh track to throw them off. Ooh. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to this. Sorry, I got distracted by chat. Like you guys said, you're my intrusive thoughts. To report on company's performance, we may use your information to track the fundamental metrics of our business, to perform financial reportings, to respond to regulatory obligations, and debug billing issues. So this makes sense because, hey, how many new users did we get this year? There we go. To personalize the product. We use your information to personalize our services. This information is used to customize your service on Discord, such as what you see on our discovery services so that you see relevant communities, activities, applications, or content first, or features that highlight on activity that Discord may interest you. So like Nitro, I'm guessing. This information also helps us surface Discord features and promotions from us that are and our partners that may be of interest to you. As discussed in the How to Control Your Privacy section below, you can choose to what extent we will use your personal information to personalize your Discord experience. Okay, we'll see that in a bit. So, I gotta start reading the chat. You guys are so distracting. To improve our services, we use information to help us understand how users interact with our services, what features and products users may want, to develop features that make Discord safer and better to use, or to otherwise understand improvements to our services. This includes information about how you use our service and how servers are structured. We may also use certain content that is widely available to better understand, for example, what topics servers cover and what content is most interesting within those servers. That's interesting. I wonder how they use that. That's to improve our services. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a fascinating one. Similarly, you can limit what extent we use your personal information for these purposes. Great. To advertise our services on Discord and other platforms. We are proud of the product we've built. We may tell you about paid services and other features directly in the service and through our own channels, and we may spend money on advertising Discord on other platforms. As a part of that, we use certain information to assist in the delivery of our advertising to measure the effectiveness of advertisements for our own products and to improve such advertisements in the future. So that essentially means if you click an ad that says, hey, download Discord, and then you download Discord and create an account, they track that, basically, which makes sense to prove like how useful are the ads, right? That makes sense. To contact you. We may use your information to let you know about new products and features. Yeah, that makes sense. To ask for your feedback about services or to tell you about experimental features that might interest you. You may opt out of receiving such marketing communications. Where local law requires, we will obtain your consent before sending such communications. So they will consent if they have to. To comply with our legal obligations, we retain and use your information in connection with potential legal claims when necessary and to comply for compliance, regulatory, and auditing purposes. For example, we retain information where we are required by law or if we are compelled to do so by court order or regulatory body. Also, when you exercise any of your applicable legal rights to access, amend, or delete personal information, we may request additional information from you for the purpose of confirming your identity. Cool. Water. I need water again. How dare you consider me Zuckerberg? I'm insulted. That's a wet voice, everybody. Chat, this is real. You guys are funny. It's interesting. Okay, so WhatsApp is really interesting because they use the same encryption that Signal uses. They Signal shares that information. Like they let other people use their encryption technology, and WhatsApp uses that, which is really interesting. But WhatsApp like actually does collect a lot more data than Signal, which I think is really interesting, and we will review that. So, but not today because we've been streaming for almost 3 hours and we still haven't gotten through this privacy policy. Add that to the laugh counter. You guys I can't stop thinking about that now. Yeah, that's what I thought. The Signal protocol is open source. I thought that, but I didn't want to say it because I wasn't 100% certain. With your consent, we may also collect and use personal information with your consent, such as to send you marketing communications where legally required. Okay, that's gross. You can revoke your consent at any time, mostly through our services directly, though note that you might not be able to use our services for the feature that requires collection or use of that personal information. Sorry for wet voice. No mic. Wait, what? I'm moist voice. Okay. I was like, it looks good on my end, but I'm not. Cool. Yes, I did pause for a moment. I'm sorry. I needed water in my body. All right. To protect someone's vital interests, we may collect or share personal data if we think someone's life is in danger. For example, to help resolve an urgent medical situation. I think this seems fair. I'm going to be honest. I get it. Like, I get that there's a lot of like weirdness with this one, but as somebody who's been through some of that like mental health crisis stuff, I see no problem in them intervening to help somebody out. I'm gonna be honest. Hello, Souflu. I like your username. That's fun to say. Okay, Bucky brings up an amazing point. Data requests from Discord do take forever. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure it took me like a month and a half to get mine back. So please keep that in mind when you do that. I totally forgot about that. Thank you for the reminder. How we disclose your information? When you tell us to. So when you add your content to the services, you're telling us that you want to make the content available to certain people or communities. Okay, so they're basically saying if you write anything in a server or post anything in a server at all, you are telling them that you want to share your information, right? That's the agreement there. So weird way to phrase it, but it makes sense in context, you know. I have no idea why it takes so long. I truly cannot fathom how it takes so long for them to process your data. Like most other companies that I requested data from, like Apple, Google, a handful of others, I mean, they were significantly faster. But it took a long time for me to get Discord's data. I was really surprised by that. Who can access that information is determined who can access that particular space. For servers, those permissions are set by the server owners or admins. They control whether a server requires an invite link or is open and accessible to anyone. And these permissions, like the size of a server, may change over time. Similarly, you link your Discord account with third-party services like a music streaming service or gaming platform, embed content, interact with third-party content posted on Discord, or participate in a server that has third-party features like bots enabled. We may provide certain information to that service or other Discord users to operate that service or feature. Okay, so again, using Discord means that you can they can have that data, right? That makes sense, right? We will actually get into how many requests they get. They actually do have to report on this, which I think is really interesting. So we're gonna look at that in a little bit. I'm very curious personally, because I hadn't seen that document yet. All right. Additionally, if you purchase goods or services from other users on Discord, we may disclose certain information to these users in order to facilitate the delivery of goods or services purchased or help them understand and improve their business. We may also disclose that information, your information, as you otherwise instruct us or provide consent to do so. Okay. Whew. Man, that's... So here... They disclose, I mean, when you tell us to disclose, so that's everything. I mean, that they basically just described every single point except financial. I don't think they mentioned location in here. No, they do mention purchased goods or services. Yeah, so no, that's every point. So we're going to mark all of those as shared data because this is the shared data. They disclose the information. They share it. Cool. With our vendors, again, this describes like the purchasing thing. They obviously need to be able to share information with that for stuff. Anyways, we may provide information from vendors we hire to carry out specific work for us. This includes payment processors like Stripe and PayPal that provide transactions on our behalf, and cloud providers like Google that hosts data and services. Think about that. Discord, Google, they're in cahoots. I don't actually know the extent of that, though, to be fair. We may also provide limited information to advertising platforms to help us reach people that we think will like our products and measure the performance to our ads shown on those platforms. Again, kind of like I was describing earlier, they of course would collect some data when you're seeing an ad, right? We do this to help bring more users to Discord and to make our business successful, and provide only information required to facilitate those services. Again, probably just like unique identifiers. This information may include information like the fact that you installed our app or registered to use Discord. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. To comply with the law, we may disclose information in response to a request for information if we believe discourse is required by law, including meeting national security or law enforcement requirements. Where allowed and feasible, we will attempt to provide you with prior notice before disclosing the information in response to such a request. Our transparency report, ooh, we love these too. Oh man, they give us all kinds of good detail. See, most places don't do this. Why? Y'all are funny. Nin nailed it. Yeah, insert RC chuckling here. Am I just known as RC? I'm cool with that. That's fine. Has additional information how we respond to requests from government and law enforcement entities. So that's cool. We like that. It's funny because like Discord has a lot of the things that I like to see in a privacy policy. Like, again, these transparency reports, I do like to see that. I also do like that they are relatively transparent about how they use this information. I do dig that. I need to move the guy. You're right. Ooh, investigate. Yeah, I personally really do. I do like that. Guys with the laugh counter. At it. Did I do the vendors? Yeah, I did. And we did comply with the law. In an emergency, we may disclose information if we believe in good faith that it's necessary to prevent serious harm to a person. This is something that I wanted to get in with Snapchat today, but we'll have to skip this for next time. But basically, if you are inciting something that will harm a lot of people, they will absolutely immediately report you to the authorities, and they'll get you. They'll get you. They absolutely do use this. Blender also makes me violent every time I use it, but it's just out of sheer excitement. Yeah, Discord is not good with privacy. I'm not gonna be honest, but at least they're transparent about it. That's why I dig it. To enforce our policies and rights, we may disclose information if needed to enforce our terms of service, community guidelines, and other policies, or to protect the rights, property, or safety of ourselves and others. That makes sense. With our related companies. Ooh. Oh, and they link this. Oh, this is beautiful. See, most companies don't do this. We may provide information to our related companies, including parents, affiliates, subsidiaries, and other companies under common control and ownership. That's awesome. That's so cool. I mean, not that they do it, but the fact that they tell us that's what's cool, specifically. Let me be super clear. And then sale, acquisition, or transfer of assets. We may disclose information if Discord is evaluating and or engaging in a merger, acquisition, reorganization, bankruptcy, sale, or transfer, or change of ownership. So yeah, basically if Discord gets bought out, they're going to sell all the information. And aggregated or de-identified information. We may disclose information that has been aggregated or anonymized such that it cannot reasonably be used to identify you. Again, reasonably by the law has not been defined. It's super annoying. It can be pretty specific, but it just won't say your name. But for example, we may share aggregated user statistics in order to describe our business features or promotions to our partners or the public. Great. Data retention. We retain personal information until we determine it is no longer needed for processing purposes, which collected, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I hate that it's a different policy. I really, really don't like this. See, there's some things they do right. There's some things they don't do right. But let's read this really quick because I want to know. This is relevant. We collect information, blah, blah, blah. As mentioned in our privacy policy, we require information. The rest is optional. We retain personal information for as long as it is needed. I just want to see if they give us a number. Remember how in the DeleteMe privacy policy, how they gave us a number for how long they keep it? I want to see that in here. Ooh, okay, looks like we got some numbers in here. Great. So some information you can delete from the services. We may also retain information for a certain period of time. As described in our privacy policy, you can limit Discord from collecting some types of information. Okay, so information you can delete directly from the service. Great. You may edit or erase content that you post within Discord. For example, you can edit or delete any messages you have sent or content you have posted if you still have access to the space where you posted it. That's interesting. So I guess if you don't have access, you can't delete it. Notable. You can edit or delete a Discord server if you have the permissions needed to do so. You can edit or delete a Discord channel from a Discord server if you have the permissions needed to do so. That makes sense. Once you delete content, it will no longer be available to other users, though it may take some time to clear cached uploads. Deleted content will be deleted from Discord systems, but we may retain content longer if we have a legal obligation to preserve as described below. Public posts may be retained for 180 days to 2 years by Discord as described in our privacy policy. Okay. So if you post it in a public server, anywhere from 180 days to 2 years is how long that information will be. So they give us a number. That's cool. It's kind of a long time, but that's not that bad. And it looks like they even get into specific details with each instance. See, this is nice. Do you remember the DeleteMe privacy policy and how verbose and vague it was at the same time? This is fantastic. They give you every age verification. They delete it within 60 days. Backups, they delete them after 30 to 45 days. I mean, that's nice. That's nice that they really specify. Like, they give you a really clear idea of what's going on here. I really like this. You know, I might not agree with like the length of time for some of these things, but at least they tell you. I love that. More companies need to follow Discord's suit and being this transparent. This is sick. I love this. When you delete your account, look how specific this is. When you delete your account, we put your account on hold for 15 to 30 days, and then it can take up to 45 days to delete information from the backups. That's so good. We love that. Anyways, let's get back to the actual privacy policy. Big fan. We need a count for everything. You guys, I need a facepalm reaction for y'all. You guys are so funny. Add it. How we protect your information. We take a number of steps to protect your information. All information is encrypted. Okay, so again, HTTPS is what they're describing here. Or TLS, which isn't TLS the same thing? I don't know. We also enforce technical and administrative access to controls, which limit which of our employees have access and contractors have access to non-public information. Ooh, it looks like they actually get into some detail here. That's pretty cool. You can help maintain the security of your account by configuring two-factor authentication. Great. This one also doesn't really specify, like, hey, we could get hacked. Like, I know that's inevitable, but, oh yeah, that's right. I was thinking SSL. You're totally right. Thanks, everybody. Oh, I love all the nerds in here. You're helping me out. To answer Gundam, does that mean that Discord doesn't have accesses to messages prior to 2022, even if they are still up on the server? I would assume they're talking about deleted data. Information that is still public would still be public data, right? But if you specifically deleted a message in 2022, it would no longer be accessible in their backend, right? That's an important distinction. They were referring to data that has been deleted specifically. How to control your privacy. We believe that users should be able to tailor their Discord experience to their preferences, including privacy. And while local laws may require different things, we believe that our users should have at least the same basic ability to shape their experience no matter where they are in the world. Here's how you can control how we process your information, how to delete certain information, and how to request access to your information. Seriously, you guys, I cannot emphasize how interesting requesting your information from Discord is. I think it's really cool. Anyways, users in certain places may have specific rights under local laws. You can learn more about these in the relevant section below. Cool. Be aware of the Discord spaces you choose to participate in. You can choose what spaces. So again, this makes sense in the context of how Discord works as a service, right? But you can choose to what messages to send or post, what to engage with. Example, one or more particular users or potentially unlimited groups of users, what information you include in your profile, whether to connect to any third-party services, and more. For example, if you share content in certain spaces, such as servers listed in Discord Discovery or Server Discovery, or with the public invite link, your content may be accessible by anyone. I think anyone is debatable. You have to have a Discord account, but yeah. We offer a number of settings that allow you to tailor your experience with Discord. Some of these relate to specific features. For example, you choose whether to display your current activity, like the game you're playing, or in your status and user settings page, this is the gear icon next to your username. See, they even get into details like where that setting is. Cool. You can also access other privacy-related settings in your user settings. For example, you can decide whether you filter potentially explicit content, who can add you as a friend, and more. This is also where you can limit certain types of processing of your information. Limit our ability to use your data and to improve our services. We offer certain settings that allow you to limit the information that we collect to help us understand how users use our service, what features or products they may want. Again, advertising stuff, basically, how you use it. If you turn off these settings, we will stop collecting certain event log information as described in these settings. I would be very curious to see some of that data. Yes, I should take a breather. You're probably right. Y'all ready for wet voice? I should also make a drinking water animation. Wet voices after I drink water. Great. Yeah, do you guys want a quick break? I mean, let's see here. Access to information, international data transfers. I really do love how specific they get in this. Yeah, okay. Let's take a quick break. Look, I even have it in this view. Bam. But I do want to show the chat, so I'll let you guys see yourselves. Oh no, I broke it. I didn't have it working right. My bad. Oh, yeah, we'll wrap up this policy. I'll hang out if anybody has questions. But yeah. 3 hours. Wow. I nailed the estimate. VLC Media Player. Yeah, I'll add them to my list. Are they open source? I don't know. I'm gonna look into that. If someone told me yesterday I would be watching a YouTube stream where someone reads privacy policies, I would have never believed them. Yeah, I truly don't know. I didn't know if this was gonna work or not. It's a privacy policy. It's the most boring kind of content like anybody could think of. I mean, we did a little poll earlier, right? 91% of people haven't read this policy because it's boring. It sucks, right? Actually, this one's pretty good, but that's what I mean. It's interesting. Oh, you're right. I can disable that scroll bar. That's a really nah, it's fine. Whatever. It's a CSS thing. Oh, yeah. Let me answer that TOSDR thing. I don't. Okay, so a lot of my feelings related to that is that they're wildly inconsistent in how they rank privacy policies. And I think that as difficult as it can be, consistency, like if you're going to summarize them, which again, I don't think you should do. I mean, other people can. I don't necessarily care, but like my problem with summarizing it is you don't read it. You don't know what the actual contents of a privacy policy are. I mean, even looking at, the thing that we've been looking at right now, this is Discord's privacy policy. Location seems like it might be too specific, right? And I think that just looking at it from the perspective of a summary isn't necessarily beneficial. So, the reason that I don't like TSODR is partially that, and again, they really, really are not consistent in how they show that information. The ranking system is all over the place. I think somebody that does it a little bit better would be Mozilla's blog, Privacy Not Included. They do a significantly better job of like going into detail as to like why they call things certain things. They give it a creepiness scale. So I of the things that summarize privacy policies, I would much rather recommend Privacy Not Included by Mozilla. So that's my take there. I see geometry. No, but thank you. That means a lot. That's really nice. The day privacy policies become unnecessary to put out is the day we're doomed. That'll not be fun, but I'll be here fighting the good fight. It's a good morning stream with coffee. Nice. VLC is open source. That is fantastic. I thought it was, but I didn't know for sure. I'd love to know your thoughts on some of these common YouTube sponsorships, privacy policies. Don't worry, we will be reading all of them. That's kind of part of the stream. I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but DeleteMe was a company that had reached out to try to sponsor me a few days ago. And I rejected it because I don't take sponsors on this channel. Video coming on that soon. But I wanted to call out like, hey, this company tried to sponsor me. Let's read their privacy policy. It's also a warning to any people who might be considering emailing me a sponsorship spot. Know that I will be rejecting you and know that I will be reading your privacy policy. See it as an invite. Yeah, I'm sick of sponsorships too. Louis Rossman had a really great video recently discussing like, hey, if you use sponsor block, maybe just watch YouTubers that don't take sponsors. And yeah, I am definitely rejecting the convenience of a sponsorship. I am leaving behind a lot of money. But I don't care. I like making this stuff and I don't want to, abuse this parasocial relationship that we inherently have. Again, I'll be diving into that in a video that will hopefully come out in a couple weeks. What about Molvard VPN privacy policy? Yes, I will absolutely add them to my list. That is a fantastic recommendation. I have read theirs before. It is very short, which I like. We'll use them as a break sponsor or break one because they're Felicia, don't. Proton VPN, yeah, Proton is on my list of companies to look at. So don't you worry, we will be looking at Proton as well. Ah, thanks, Felicia. I can't believe it. I can't believe you've done this. What are my thoughts on Proton? I use it. I think they're onto something. I like the or what is it? They're a nonprofit company. I like that. It seems so far that the nonprofit organization seems to be doing pretty well. So I'm so far a fan of Proton. But know that if they goof up, if they do anything weird I don't like, I will be public about that. I think the only sponsorships that seem to advertise genuinely good products is Nebula. Nebula seems... I mean, that's a platform, right? Like that seems a little bit different. But again, I don't think I would even still do sponsorships that way. Oni, thank you for the convenient money. You're lovely. Honey's privacy policy is also on my list. Don't you worry. Hey, MZ, welcome to Tier 1. I just for anybody new coming in, I do keep my membership costs as low as I possibly can at $1. So I don't... Okay, that fancy potato. I do not... I genuinely do not want to be rich. I genuinely... Like, no. If I become a millionaire, I have failed. Genuinely. Let's wrap up this goofy little privacy policy here. Oh, Steam. That's a good one too. I'm going to add that. Great. I do have a Blue Sky. You can follow me at rejectconvenience.com. I think that's my at. It's in the description, I think. So is the I have gifting disabled, I think. Wait, can you not gift a $1 membership? I didn't realize that. I'm gonna look into that. The Patreon link is also in the description for anybody curious. Anyways, if I ever become a millionaire, then I donate all of my money to charities. There is a fantastic video. I do not remember. Okay, Oni, I'll look into that. So there's a fantastic video I saw recently that kind of digs into the idea of like what happens when you have a lot of money and like how it corrupts people inherently. Like our brains just aren't wired for it. I think it's really interesting. So yeah. Do you prefer Patreon or YouTube memberships? Doesn't matter to me. The goal for the memberships is for you to help me make better content. It is not for me. That's how I'm trying to think of it. It is for, it's for the viewers. It's for everybody who wants to learn more about privacy and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Anyways, we're going to dive a little bit back more into this. Alrighty, we're almost done. Oh, yeah, Felicia brings up a fantastic point. I absolutely do pay people to help me out now. I pay for music. I pay an audio engineer now. Shout out Lai for doing all of my audio in my recent videos. She's been wonderful. If you need help with audio work, highly recommend her. She's been fantastic. Anyways, who takes the bigger cut? Probably YouTube. I think their cut is probably a little bit bigger than Patreon. But like I said, I'm not necessarily in this for the money. So, but that is a good question. I believe Patreon takes less, but not by a lot. I'll be honest. Yeah, the audio engineer. Okay, if you saw my VPN video, I tried to fix the audio so bad in that video. I mean, I should have just re-recorded it. It was so rough. Here, I'm just going to switch to the Q&A view because we're clearly in Q&A mode right now. Oh, Ko-Fi doesn't take cuts. I thought they did. Hey, thanks Syntax Error for the donation. Yes, and my little guy is canonically called Little Guy. That has been mentally in my brain. Patreon definitely has the better privacy policy. YouTube's is abysmal. But we'll get to that at a future date. What's my goal in the future? I mean, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but like, if I can just get people to more row Patreon leaked my info in 2018. Ooh, good to note. I know that Google also has a lot of data problems. I think that's why it's like tough to decide which of the two is worse, because everywhere is kind of bad at a certain point. I'm so sorry. You guys are really good at distracting me. I don't post a ton on Blue Sky, but I post a little bit. Goal in the future. That's right. My goal is just to continue to help people understand a lot of these complex topics, and I want to do it in an empathetic way. I think it's really, really unhelpful to consider people stupid for not understanding this complicated stuff. It is not helpful to anybody. I'd like saying that people that fall for scams deserved it is a bad take. And I don't like that. And I want to kind of fight that, that rhetoric, So, yeah. So I'm kind of going out of my way to make things like reading privacy policies easier to understand. I know it sucks. I know reading these things is just garbage, but it's important because the only way that we can improve the situation is by being aware and making informed consumer decisions, right? Also, I'm going to also talk about goofy things that I like my slowed and reverb music video, which is not monetized because I used a bunch of stolen music. Duh. Little guy merch. That's a really fun idea. I did not consider that. I the hair is like perfectly poofy. I didn't even consider that. All right, you guys are onto something. I'll look into that. Brave versus Firefox, which has more privileges to privacy? Ooh, we'll look into that. That's a really good question. Oh yeah, corn. There will be a corn video eventually. I don't know if I've talked about this publicly, but I want to make a video that talks just about corn, just the entire history of corn. But then I started to looking into it, and then I ended up getting super distracted because it turns out wheat also has a really interesting history. So it's going to be a long video, unfortunately. So, maybe expect that at some point. Maybe if this channel hits 100,000 subscribers, I will release the corn video. It's about everything about corn. Anything you can think of. The corn video. The title of the video will just be corn. Somebody mentioned corn. I'm obsessed with corn. I think it's so cool. Hi, Sam. Welcome. We have read through multiple privacy policies Not just the nutrition. I mean, I'm talking everything, the agricultural history, the uses of it, like everything. Corn, like just corn. So yeah, that's the subscriber goal. 100,000 subscribers. We'll do the corn video. Yes, we will do both corn music and corn video. Yes. Excellent. I'm so glad my Midwesterner friends approve of corn video. Do I ever plan to show my face? No, I removed it for a reason. I don't, just given the kind of stuff that I talk about, I am definitely going to be keeping my face away from the internet. Yeah. It's not for me. Talking about privacy, I'm going to abide by it. Oh, for everybody else in the world, maize is what we're talking about, not just corn. Maize. Reject convenience. Oh, man. Oh, we're in it now. Do I look exactly like my little guy? No, I wear glasses. So, sorry. I also don't look like a me. I'm going to be honest. You found my videos from searching dumb phone videos. Excellent. I do use a dumb phone still. I have a fun fact for everybody. Totally not relevant. I have not charged my phone since December 15th. That is 27 days for those of you who are counting. Oh yeah, something forums. Visit the forums. It's in the description, maybe? I don't know if I put it there. Yeah, this is all manual animation. I'm going to make more next time. I mean, you guess you could just not charge your phone for that long, but my phone is still on, is the thing. Oh, here, I'm going to make you guys crazy with the angry counter. Count that. Do you scan QR codes with your phone? No, I don't. I can't do it, so I don't deal with QR codes. Also, QR codes are like really dangerous, potentially. There is a lot of potential for scamming through QR codes. I am surprised. I mean, I'm sure there are videos talking about it, but I might make a video about it in the future. Yeah, QR codes are also insanely annoying. The video about QR codes went, I don't know, I got my whole year kind of scheduled out, but it might be next year, I'm going to be honest. All right, adding it to the video list, QR codes. I can't tell you how many video ideas that I have. What do you think about the prediction about how AI bots are going some rampant in the future? People are going to have to give out their ideas. Oh man, AI, okay. I'm going to be totally transparent with everybody here. I was very deep in research on a video about AI. I was, I mean, I don't remember how many, I hate cooking. Do you remember how many pages that document was? It was like 20 something pages of research that I had done. It was an enormous amount of research. And I got depressed. Oh, who could be surprised? It was a lot of information. It was going to be a video about the state of AI, but I opted not to do it because for several reasons. One, these videos take forever to make. And I didn't think, so something that like, again, full transparency for how this channel works. I won't make a video if I can't offer a solution. I'm not a journalist. I consider myself more closely associated to a teacher. I'm here to help you, right? And if I can't give you some information that's potentially scary, like these privacy policies, if I'm just saying, look how scary it is, that's not beneficial, right? But if I can say, hey, here's why this information is valid and here's how these can become problematic, right? I think that offering a solution is wildly important in this scene. And the AI video it kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I couldn't see a way out of it. And so I dropped it. I'm not doing that video. And I think that's a line that I'm not willing to cross, So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of insight into how I do some things. Also, like, everybody's talking about AI right now, and I don't know. Everybody said everything that already exists, I think it's terrible. I refuse to use it. I think it sucks. But I understand why people like it. I understand why people don't like it. I personally don't like it. I think it's a net loss. But yeah, it's just not something that I'm into. So yeah. The cookie video is my favorite video. Actually, that's not true. The Star Wars recap video is my favorite one, but nobody watched that one. So what are your thoughts on wearable tech such as watches, glasses, and VR? If you like tech, it's awesome, right? I think things like smartwatches are great for like tracking steps. I think virtual reality has a lot of advantages in a lot of really interesting ways. It's also totally dystopian and freaky. So yeah, I think it depends on who you are, right? If there are a lot of problems for privacy, you can get a model to work locally. I agree. Like, my concern with it isn't privacy. AI, like, yes, there obviously are a lot of privacy concerns related to AI, but that's not where my beef comes in. My beef comes into the use cases, and it can be used for both wonderful and good things, and it can be used for horrible, unimaginably terrible things. And I don't know. I just don't think that it's worth it, personally. But again, I understand why some people like it. Thoughts on the dead internet theory? Keep making content. Make it not true. I think that it's only half the story to say that the internet is dead, and to say that everything is terrible and no good and rotten. And I disagree. I think that we absolutely have the control to make new stuff. That's the reason that I don't have a Discord server. I have a forum. Yes, it can be scraped by AI, but I can control who's on it, right? We can always turn it around. Exactly. Like, the internet is a open platform. So yeah, I will be doing a Reddit privacy policy. Yes, they are actually here. Let me show you all of the ones that I prepared ahead of time for this. All right. So, this is going to be kind of a pain. I'll just read them all off. 1Password, Amazon, Apple, AT&T, Bandcamp, Best Buy, BetterHelp, Bitwarden, Blue Sky, Cash App, Credit Karma, DeleteMe, which we already read, Discord, which we also read, Disney Plus, Fiverr, Ford, Google, Grammarly, Hulu, Incogni, Ko-Fi, Meta, Microsoft, Netflix, Nissan, Ford, NordVPN, that's an actual overlay file, Patreon, PayPal, Proton, Reddit, Ring, Rocket Money, Signal, Snapchat, Spotify, StartMail, Surfshark, T-Mobile, Toyota, TurboTax, Twitch, Venmo, Verizon, Walmart, and YouTube. That's everything I've written down so far. I will be, and obviously some of the suggestions that have popped up during the stream. So yeah. Yeah, sorry, the stream's coming to a wrap up. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, we have like an enormous amount of live streaming to do. I think it's gonna be. I did say Nissan and Ford. That video is coming out in February. I'm not going to give any spoilers beyond the fact that I am reviewing their privacy policies. What social medias do I use? YouTube, obviously, and Blue Sky, and that's it. Yeah, we got plenty of content. Don't you worry. I got all kinds of stuff. Yeah. How is Blue Sky? It's fine. Social media. I don't know. It scratches that Twitter itch that I used to have back in the day, but I've been able to curate it pretty well, which I like. Do you contact friends and family beyond real life and phone at all? Yeah, of course. Yeah. I do have a forum. That's right. I guess that is technically social media. So if you deleted your social media accounts because of like the fact that it's social media, I would not recommend joining Blue Sky because it is social media, right? They have a lot of good like curation, like list things that I like. Like you can really specify what you want to see on there, but yeah. I will make an animation of the guy chugging a giant bottle of water. Don't you worry. Thanks for joining, Oni. It was good to see you. And actually, I am going to be, I think, ending the stream. I'm very tired. I'm not gonna lie. That was, whew, that was a lot. Oh, we forgot to read the rest of Discord. Okay, we'll finish off next time. Is there a delete all Discord messages since deleting your account doesn't? Yeah, it seems like it's a pretty manual process. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, hey everybody, thanks for joining. We'll be doing this again next month. If it ends up being like highly suggested, like people really want me to do this more frequently, I will consider it. But for now, once a month, I didn't want to overdo it. So yeah, have a wonderful day. And as always, be kind and patient with each other.